Welcome to the North Coast Swimming and Diving Championships from Concord, California. Cowl Pool, the site of the sectional championship. I'm Kirsten Fairchild alongside Philip Kern. Thank you so much for joining us on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. We'll catch you up with all the action we've had so far, but Philip, we're getting ready now for the girls' 200-yard freestyle, the finals. In lane 1, Kirsten Brand of Amador Valley. Number 2, Moriah Simmons of Granada. Montgomery's Jenna Bauer in lane 3. Carondelet High School's Chelsea Chanot, one of the best swimmers in the country, in lane 4. The freshman out of Marin Catholic, Callie Raucher, in lane 5. Albany sophomore Ariane Sagafi in lane 6, San Ramon Valley's Paige Matherson in lane 7, and Las Lomas's Kelsey Leonard in lane 8. We've got freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors in this race, and for the seniors, they have done so well throughout their careers at the NCS championships. They want to follow up with another title.
Oh, absolutely, because the hype surrounding a lot of this NCS meet is that records were falling left and right even leading up to this point, so you can sense that there's a lot of electricity here in the pool, though normally hazardous. In this case it's perfectly safe because it's coming from the fans here in the grandstand. And I'll tell you what, just with the couple of meets that we're not able to bring to the public already, there's a lot. Everybody is so intense right now. I mean, you can see some of the student body going right up to the border and just cheering their teammates on. It's pretty special to watch.
Keep your eye on Chanot in lane 4. Again, every lane 4 swimmer today brings the fastest time into this final. We're underway. San Ramon Valley has won the past 2 consecutive team titles, and they're looking to three-peat here today. Again, Chanot from Carondelet in lane 4. Off to a good start, as well as Sagafi from Albany in lane 6. Chanot, a senior, she'll be headed to USC in the fall, as Jenna Bauer of Montgomery making up some room, making up some time in lane 3. Chanot leading right now since the start.
Minor there in lane 8 will be headed to USC of San Diego in the fall.
200-yard freestyle.
And Chanot after 100 yards.
Chanot continuing to pull ahead. She's actually pulling away from the crowd now at 50.33 after that 100-yard split.
Catherine Breed holds the North Coast section record. She set it in 2011 out of Amador Valley. 1 minute 44. 61 100ths as Chanot with the crowd urging her on.
And Chanot looking like she's just pulling away. At some point, you would think if she continues to hold this mark, she can just hit cruise control. And right now, you can see more than 3 seconds ahead of her closest, of the second place person behind her. That would be Ariana Sagafi, actually within about 2.5 seconds.
Great swim for the sophomore Sagafi down in lane 6. Can she hold on for second? Second place is what's going to be determined here as Chelsea Chanot wraps up the girls' 200-yard freestyle. Her final as a high school athlete. Coming in second is Sagafi, and touching out of lane 5 for third is the freshman Marin Catholic's Callie Welker. Congratulations to Chanot, setting an NCS meet record.
What a way to go out for Chelsea Chanot. Of course, we mentioned a senior, and beating that NCS meet record by 0.16 seconds. So just the razor's edge right there, but a record is a record.
Absolutely. 1:44.45. Congratulations to Chelsea Chanot. Kirsten Fairchild alongside Philip Kern. What an absolutely outstanding facility. Look at the crowd turnout. When you look at the senior class of the North Coast section swimming, they have really made their mark as freshmen and have just continued to build upon their legacy.
And that's really been the big story, because you mentioned it. A lot of these swimmers starting out as freshmen, they made their impact immediately. So just being able to progress as they have gone up to their upperclassmen years, I'll tell you what, just watching the progression here as they are getting ready to head, for some of them getting ready to head to their college years, but I'll tell you what, with some of the freshmen already making an impact, underclassmen here, you got to think they still have a few years to really grow and mature and get better as swimmers. So the fact that they have made their mark here already in the NCS finals, I mean, it really shows that the health of NCS swimming, not only good as far as the top end, but lower ends as well. There's going to be a lot of exciting prospects to watch here over time.
Well, and a lot of swimmers who, will finish up their high school careers, but will go on to move to swim in the Pac-12. I mean, just the NCAA Division I athletes coming out of the North Coast section in swimming is really remarkable.
Exactly, and of course you can even look beyond that. I mean, we even have a couple of swimmers who made to the Olympic trials, so a lot of these swimmers have a lot of bigger ambitions. I mean, even going beyond the NCAA stage, I mean, we're talking amongst the world's greatest at this point. I mean, some of these swimmers are already looking to the 2016 Olympics in Rio. So, I mean, a lot of these kids are going to have a lot of big time goals, and they got a few years to prepare for them too.
Let's set the stage of what's going to happen today. Every event is going to start out with a consolation final. First, the girls. Places 9 through 16 will be determined in that final, regardless of time. Following that event is the final, where places number 1 through 8 will be determined. And Philip, this is so important to the teams because every finish counts as far as point total.
Exactly, and those points go towards those team finals. So while the individual accomplishments are going to be nice, what's really going to help is that even though the consolation finals may not get as much publicity as you will, but they still count for something. So there is still a bit of a incentive for these swimmers to do their best, even though they're in the consolation finals, because it all really is going to add up. So we could really add up for who gets these team finals.
Boys 200-yard consolation final, lane 1, Amador Valley's R.J. Scott. Kevin Mertz out of Santa Rosa, lane 2. Amador Valley's Nick Johnson in lane 3. Tara Linda Jr., Nick Bigot in lane 4. Tony Shen of Foothill, lane 5. Mikhail Zyla of Northgate, lane 6, right next to his teammate Eric Van Brocklin in lane 7. And down in lane 8, Andrew Downs of California. This is the consolation final. The North Coast section meet. Record set last year by Jackson Miller out of Las Lomas. We'll see him later today. His time 1:36.85.
That'll be the record we'll watch, not just for the consolations, but for the finals as well. And so far, Nick Bagot in lane 4 from Tara Linda, off to a very good start.
Bagot in front of Shen of Foothill in a tight race thus far for third place. But, the number 4 seed here, Bagot, really showing he is the class of this field.
He really is, and he's really stretching his margin right now. Based on those splits, already 1.4 seconds ahead of his closest competitor.
Brings a qualifying time of 1:41.19. That's good enough for All-American consideration. The only one in this field to bring a time of All-American consideration in, as his teammates rooting him on. Bagot dominating here early against Shen in second place, and then in lane 3, Johnston of Amador Valley, right alongside Mertz of Santa Rosa in lane 2.
And Tony Shen is sort of keeping with Nick Bagot right now, but if he's going to make any sort of move, he's running out of time.
And Shen trying to make up ground as Bagot brings it in. Bagot taking 9th place, followed by Shen and then by Johnston.
Well, Bagot basically ran away with that. He just was able to reach that through his 100-yard split, and at that point you could see the separation that happened. But you can see right here, second and third place basically separated by 0.49 seconds. So even a second and third place finishes for this heat very, very close.
Lane assignments for the boys 200-yard freestyle final. San Ramon Valley's Clayton Young, the senior, in lane 1. Annalee Jr. John Knox in lane 2. Monte Vista senior Dylan Williams in lane 3. Granada Jr. Nick Silverthorne in lane 4. Jackson Miller of Las Lomas, the senior, record holder in this event, lane 5. Amador Valley senior Brian Hughes in lane 6. College Preparatory Junior Talbot Jacobs in lane 7, and Trent Trump of Granada in lane 8. Lanes 3, 4, and 5, Williams, Silverthorne, and Miller already bringing in automatic All-American times into this event, just 20 hundredths of a second separating Silverthorne and Miller in lanes 4 and 5.
And I was just about to mention that, just how close those swimmers are. I mean, obviously, with those kind of times in those middle lanes, that's where all the attention is going to be focused on. But really, you have to look out for Brian Hughes and Dylan Williams in lanes 3 and 6. I mean, their times were not of a slouch-worthy consideration either. I mean, they were with every one of those swimmers, 3 through 6, were within about a second of each other. So just kind of look and see who gets the separation early, but who also can hold off through those last couple of splits too.
So Silverthorne, the top scene in lane 4. Miller, the record holder in lane 5. Settle back, settle in. This should be a good one on playonsports.com. Swimmers taking their marks and into the pool. Looks like 5 across from lanes 2 through 6 here starting off. And it's Hughes and Miller right now in lanes 5 and 6. And now Miller taking a slight lead.
Very slight lead, of course, and Brian Hughes just 0.14 seconds behind him on that first split.
John Knox swimming well of Annalee in lane 2. So Miller in the lead and about 4 across for second place right now. Silverthorne in lane 4 trailing a bit.
Now you see Jackson Miller starting to pull away a little bit, at least about a half a second ahead of Brian Hughes, who's hanging with him very nicely.
You've got Knox in 2, Williams in 3.
Jackson Miller, what a career he's had at Las Lomas, the senior. He's also the quarterback of his football team. Talk about a multi-sport athlete who shines both in the water and on the gridiron, as now Silverthorne making his move. Can he reel him in?
Challenge Miller for the title.
So Silverthorne coming on strong here in the latter part of this race. Everyone anticipating.
He's giving Jackson Miller a bit of a run for his money, but it looks like he's just pulling away right now.
Miller followed by Silverthorne, and it looks like Hughes in lane 6 finishes 3rd, and congratulations to Jackson Miller improving on his record, 135.86, a new North Coast section record.
Oh, it was definitely a record-worthy pace. I mean, how else do you put a finishing touch on your swimming career? Hey, just one more record in the books, no problem. Just like he drew it up.
So 135.86 for Miller. Silverthorne settles for second in a very impressive time as well.
Oh, even so, I mean, just 0.1 seconds off the former NCS meet record, so he was definitely holding his own. But you can see just Jackson Miller, the class of this meet right there. It was a very close throughout that first split, but you could see between first and second, that's when Jackson Miller really shifted it into that second gear and just pulled away from everybody.
And the 4th place finish right in front of us in lane 1, Clayton Young, the senior out of San Ramon Valley. So Miller claims the 200-yard championship. Well, before we came on the air today, we had the 200-yard medley relay, and Carondelet had set a record back in 2011. The girls, that wasn't beaten today, but San Ramon Valley won the title, won the event, 1 minute 41.76. Gianna Garcia, the freshman, leading off, followed by Heidi Pop, then Donnie Orlandi, and then Abigail Miller, the freshman, bringing it home. So 2 freshmen on that NCS 200-yard medley relay championship.
And what's really impressive is that the freshman was the anchor of that relay team. And normally you really don't see that a lot, but they have a lot of faith in that freshman. She has a lot of talent too.
Boys 200-yard medley relay. The meet record coming in was set by Granada yesterday in the prelims. Trump, Silverthorne, Rooney, and McLaughlin setting that record 132.95. Campolindo, however, in lane 3, beating that record. J.D. Ratchford, the senior, Tyler Bartas, the junior, Stephen Stump, the senior, and Dominic Baldwin, the senior. So a very veteran relay team, and they just smashed that record. 1 minute 30.52.
It wasn't even that close. I mean, they just happened to pull away from everything at that point. So it was a very, very impressive run. And as you said, a very very veteran lane relay team, and they got the job done. That's what they were supposed to do.
We mentioned San Ramon Valley going for the three-peat on the girls' side. The boys' side, Camp Alindo, 8 straight team titles coming into this championship. Ron Hayderi, the head coach. We keep using the word legacy and dynasty, throwing these terms around today, but they really seem to apply, especially when it comes to Camp Alindo and the sport of boys swimming.
Well, anytime you put together a streak of dominance like they have, I mean, anytime you cover a decade, or at least a majority of it, with a bunch of team titles, I mean, you have to at least consider it being some sort of a legacy or dynasty, whatever word you want to use, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Time now for the girls' 200-yard individual medley consolation final. Remember, in the individual medley, we're going to start off with the butterfly, then the backstroke, then the breaststroke, and the freestyle. Lane 1, Montgomery senior Katie Sabarin. Lane 1 closest to us. Allie Klinger, the heritage freshman in lane 2. Monte Vista junior Sarah Nicolosi in lane 3. San Ramon Valley freshman in lane 4 and 5. Abigail Miller, lane 4. Christina Chong, lane 5. Akalani's senior Emily Giambastini in lane 6. Marie Claire Schillinger, the sophomore out of Miramonte, lane 7. Madeline Botain, the Northgate senior, lane 8. The NCS meet record coming into this event, 156.17, set back in 2010 by Maya Dorado.
You see Abigail Miller already with a very strong butterfly leg, so let's see how she holds that lead in the backstroke.
So again, lane 1, bottom of our screen, closest to us. Lane 8, top of the screen, farthest away. Kirsten Fairchild alongside Philip Kern. Thank you for joining us on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports, as Sarah Nicolosi making a move in lane 3.
59-20, the lead split, that belongs to
lane 3, but of course, and then now she takes the lead from Abigail Miller, so a very strong backstroke, but Miller's still hot on her tail right now. And of course, don't forget Christina Chung, only 600th of a second behind.
Nicolosi showing what a great breaststroker she is. But Miller still in contention for sure. Miller and her teammate Chong with the green swim caps. Chong battle for third place at the moment as Nicolosi in the lead, ready now for the final leg, the freestyle.
And she got a nice push coming off that breaststroke leg, and now she's really starting to take hold in the freestyle.
Again, the race on for third. A nice move by Kate Sabarin here in lane 1 out of Montgomery, but this looks like it's Nicolosi's race to lose.
And she started to pull away and just taking the hold of this race by the throat here with this freestyle. But I'll tell you what, Kate Sabarin in lane 1 also with a very impressive showing too.
Waiting for the finishes here, and actually lane 6, Emily Giambastini of Akalani's taking second place. We'll wait for the official reports to come in, but we saw Nicolosi just get stronger and stronger as this race went on.
No, she did, and of course it was kind of a disappointing finish for Abigail Miller. She darted out to a very big lead early on and slips to a 7th place finish in this consolation round. So you have to think she's a bit disappointed because she actually held the lead for at least the first couple of legs, and all of a sudden just fell off. And all of a sudden here comes Sarah Nicolosi and really turned it on in that breaststroke leg. I mean that you could tell that's one of her better swim disciplines. But I'll tell you what, her freestyle was very strong too.
So Nicolosi taking the consolation final. Giambastini in lane 6 finished second. Chong in lane 5 finished third. Time now for the girls 200-yard IM final. Amador Valley sophomore Eva Chung, lane 1. Fellow sophomore out of Los Lomas, Kate Diddy in lane 2. Riley Scott, another sophomore this time out of Petaluma, lane 3. Selena Lee, the foothill senior, what a career she's had, lane 4. Taylor Young, the senior out of Cardinal Newman, lane 5. Granada senior Nina Hayes, lane 6. Akalani's sophomore Brittany Usinger, lane 7. And Stephanie Doyd, the senior foothill, all sophomores and seniors coming into this one. And Lee and Young both bring in automatic All-American automatic All-American times. Lee bringing a blistering 158.92 into this event. We may see a record fall here.
We possibly could. Of course, with this final, seniors and juniors need not apply. I think that was sort of the criteria for this one.
Selena Lee, chance to shine here in the 200-yard IM. Lee in lane 4. Young also considered a threat of Cardinal Newman, lane 5. We're underway. And starting off with a butterfly, followed by the backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. Lee, first to the wall.
Lee already starting off very, very nicely here.
The only swimmer to break the 2-minute mark yesterday.
Good swim down by Usinger in lane 7 off the butterfly, as well as Young alongside Lee in lane 5. Now we're on the backstroke.
And Lee is out quickly at 25.68 for the butterfly leg.
So Lee with a 25.68, 8 butterfly leg. I think the IM, you really see the veteran swimmers do so well in this event.
Oh, absolutely, because a lot of the younger swimmers, they almost try to compensate for swim disciplines they aren't exactly as strong in, but the veterans, you can tell they've worked on sort of the weaknesses of their swim disciplines and sort of become that more well-rounded swimmer. And that's what usually works very well, because with the younger swimmers, they haven't had time to develop those weaker disciplines, so the veteran swimmers take advantage of it.
Good backstroke leg by Young as she is in second place, right on the hip of Lee.
Here comes Taylor.
Lee lane 4, Young lane 5, and then it's Scott in lane 3 as the final leg here, Selena Lee trying to break the NCS record.
At the same time, going to try and fight out Taylor Young, but it looks like just as this freestyle leg starts to take place, Lee is just separating from the pack.
Lee, the final length of the pool, the senior out of Foothill. The only one broke the 2-minute mark yesterday in the preliminaries.
And
Selena Lee, the Foothill senior, captures the title. Young out of Cardinal Newman finished second. Petaluma sophomore Scott is third, 1:59.94, not as fast as she swam yesterday, but Selena Lee, another championship for her.
Well, at that point, she had built up enough of a lead where she didn't have to shift it into that next gear. I mean, for a while there, it looked like she could have been at a record pace, but I think she got the sense that she had that meet pretty much well in hand, so really no need to push it. But you can just see, even when she was sort of cruising towards the end, still had that meet well in hand. There was really no issue there.
Big thanks while we have the opportunity to thank our meet director today, Steve Guthrie, also the head coach of De La Salle. Really appreciate his hospitality. The assistant meet director is Todd Crone. Our referee today is Jerry Ng. And a big thanks to everyone here at the North Coast Section Swim Committee and the Cowell Pool for making us feel so welcome here at PlayOnSports.com. Very busy sports afternoon in May. Thank you so much for joining us. Philip, there's something about swimming and track and field, I feel, where there's so many participants from so many schools. There really is such a tight-knit community among these athletes and these coaches.
Absolutely, because you've got a lot of these schools that are pretty much in commuting distance of each other. And of course, I mean, I know we a lot of times cover the CCS meets, and you can see a lot of those similarities there, but it's just with the caliber of swimmers that we have, it just makes everything not just a closer-knit community, but you can tell that you're probably watching the next wave of great swimmers. I think just the anticipation of what you could see in the future for some of these kids, it really adds an extra element that really isn't there most times. So I think just when you put it all together, I think you just said it best. There's that tight-knit community. I mean, you can see there's hardly any clear viewing area right now. I mean, if you wanted a spot, you're trying to make it up here now, good luck. Good luck trying to get one. It's just
or a
impossible.
parking place.
But that too.
Well, I think what was so neat when I was coming in, I was following a bunch of families, and they have swimmers, but they're not necessarily competing in this meet. They wanted to come out and see the cream of the crop as we're getting ready now for the boys consolation 200-yard IM final. Campolindo in lane 1 and 2, the junior Alex Sheeman lane 1, Dominic Baldwin the senior lane 2. Maria Carrillo Stephen Keller, the sophomore out of Maria Carrillo in lane 3. Stanley Wu, the sophomore out of Northgate, lane 4. San Ramon Valley senior Michael Palmer, lane 5. Athenian sophomore Zach Atati, lane 6. Castro Valley sophomore Carson Sand, lane 7. And down in lane 8, Amador Valley Jr. This is the boys' 200-yard IM. Record set last year by Stephen Stump of Campolindo, 147.52. And we will see Stump not in this event. He has foregone this event, but we will see him later in the day after the butterfly leg down in lane 6. It's Athenian sophomore Zach Atati.
And just one more thing you want to mention about Stephen Stump. I mean, basically choosing not to defend his record pace in this 200-yard AM really caught a lot of people by surprise when he decided not to do that, but really taking the time to focus on other disciplines. I mean, he's accomplished so much in his swimming career. He probably didn't really feel need to prove any more to him as far as that event goes.
Yeah, I think he wanted to challenge himself, take on another event, but you really have to admire his versatility as, wow, here we are in the breaststroke leg and 4 swimmers in contention, especially down here in lane 2, Dominic Baldwin with a good swim.
Oh, yeah, and of course 5 and 6, Michael Palmer and Zach Atati, same exact times, both at a 52.78 split after those first couple legs.
So Baldwin, the Campolindo senior, but also down in lane 8, it's McLaughlin, the junior. Love it when the outside smoke, as it's called, starts to heat up in the pool.
Exactly, and of course in lane 8, Kevin McLaughlin, he is pulling ahead. He's in the lead right now.
So McLaughlin in the lead down in lane 8, Baldwin here in lane 2, but don't forget the middle of the pool as a good swim by Wu now, as he's now trying to cut the distance for McLaughlin.
I think McLaughlin, though, is going to have this event in hand. There's the touch right there.
McLaughlin down in lane 8 with the win here in the consolation final. Lane 2 comes in second, and then in third is Wu in lane 4. So a big surprise as McLaughlin, who brought the slowest time into this event, wins it. Time now for the boys' final. Marin Catholic senior Thomas Carroll in lane 1. Heritage junior Brandon James, lane 2. Lane 3, Charlie Weiser, the Miramonte junior. In lane 3, Akalani senior Brett Usinger in lane 4. Campolindo senior J.D. Ratchford, lane 5. Clayton Valley Charter Schools junior Jake Frigard in lane 6. Albert Mao, the Miramonte senior, in lane 7. And Mission San Jose sophomore Jerome Sun in lane 1. The top 4 times coming into this, All-American consideration times. Usinger, the top seed, in lane 4. And Weiser in lane 3, the Miramonte junior. He has high hopes to both swim and play water polo at Stanford University in a couple of years.
And that's a very high goal for himself because, I mean, Stanford, of course, they've gotten a lot of notoriety for the success they've had in football, especially the last few years. But what gets kind of flown under the radar is that they've won cup after cup in excellence across all sports. So for him to have aspirations to go to Stanford, I mean, the cream of the crop, really, a lot of these athletes want to go there because they get the dynamic of a great education and they compete on a championship level when they go there. So Charlie Weiser, with those aspirations, I'm anxious to see how he's going to do.
This should be a fun one. Again, vacating the swim, if you will, is the record holder, Stephen Stump. He has other fish to fry, if you will, on this Saturday afternoon. You know, water fish.
I got you.
And just a really fun atmosphere here with the music for the introductions. Again, just to check that time, the North Coast section meet time set last year by Stephen Stump, 1:47.52.
At least you didn't use the jumping the shark reference. I was kind of waiting on that one.
We Californians don't joke about sharks, do we?
No, we don't.
Absolutely.
Unless it's near a pool, because you know they're not going to be there.
Usinger, the Akalani's senior, lane 4. Boys 200-yard IM final. Started off with the butterfly. We're underway. And a good start from lane 1's Thomas Carroll, the Marian Catholic senior. And also lane 3, Charlie Weiser.
Mostly pretty even on this butterfly leg so far. But there you see Charlie Weiser with a slight lead after that first leg.
Weiser breaking the water for the backstroke in lane 3. Usinger on his right hip in lane 4.
And Weiser getting very close to skimming that lane line there a little bit.
And a good backstroke leg by Heritage Brandon James in lane 2. Weiser still in the lead. Nope, now James has got him underwater.
0.04 seconds after that backstroke leg. Wow.
Swimmers wait all season long. This is the meet for them when it comes to high school swimming, so perhaps nothing should be a surprise. So much on the line as Weiser really pulls away here on the breaststroke.
You can tell of the force of these 3 legs so far, this has probably been his best breaststroke run.
Weiser followed by Usinger, and then down in lane 7, Mao out of Miramonte. Final leg of this event.
309 from Weiser. He's still in control at the final wall.
Weiser. Can Usinger catch him? Weiser just too much of a lead. Now it'll be all about the time for the Miramonte junior Charlie Weiser. Race on for second, I believe. Lane 7, it was Mao, followed by Usinger in lane 3. So big congratulations to Charlie Weiser, the Miramonte junior, for capturing the boys 200-yard IM title.
A very impressive run, especially when it got to the breaststroke leg of this medley. That's when you can see he really started to pull away. And you know, his freestyle run wasn't bad either. I mean, it was very, very nice. But I can tell you, just a breaststroke run, that's where you saw, that was probably the best of his 4 that you saw out there. So
I always think when you get to the section for events like the individual medley, it's so different from perhaps dual meets or the league, where you see swimmers who really have a weakness of the strokes that they can maybe overcome with other strokes. But when you get to the sectional level, as Weiser turns in a 1:49.62, over 2 seconds off the record, but a championship all the same.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Any weaknesses, if you get to this level and you haven't been able to work on them yet, they do get exposed. Especially, and we've mentioned this before, a lot of the kids, sometimes with the younger swimmers, this is their first time in an event like this, and sometimes they haven't been able to put in the work towards their weaker disciplines, and you see how it gets exposed. And it's the same deal here, especially if they're upperclassmen who have a stroke that maybe it's not quite what they would want it to be, but you see the more well-rounded swimmers, everyone who's sort of, I mean, you can tell they have their stronger disciplines, but they've worked on their weaknesses to a point where it's not going to hurt them in an event like this anymore. And you really saw that with Charlie Weiser. I mean, his butterfly was very good. The breaststroke, he held steady. Then when he got to the breaststroke, that's when he started to take off.
You're watching PlayOnSports.com's coverage of the North Coast Section Championships and the boys 200-yard IM Championship just determined. And, you know, different sections do it differently. Some wait and have the award ceremony in big chunks. This is not the case here. In fact, the coach of the winner or the winning relay team comes out, gives the medals. Sometimes they give flowers, a flower here to Usinger. And just an opportunity for the spotlight to be on these swimmers and all that they've accomplished this year.
Absolutely.
The sprints are up next, Philip. We'll have the 50-yard freestyle, and boy, especially when it comes to that Moyes final, we're talking about some blazing times coming into this. And really, you really have to commend the North Coast section. Looking across the different sections and regions throughout the United States, I would not be surprised if we have a lot of out-of-state viewers for this event, because the North Coast section, with this strong senior class, has really caught a lot of eyes. A time now for the consolation final of the girls 50-yard freestyle. Athenians freshman Natalie Knowles in lane 1. Austin Lee of Mission San Jose, lane 2. Haley Rose Love, the Heritage Senior, lane 3. Dougherty Valley Senior Marissa Berg, lane 4. Marin Academy Junior Isabel Kites, lane 5. Dougherty Valley sophomore Danielle Taylor, lane 6. Marin Academy Senior Ty Halstein, lane 7. Northgate sophomore Natalie Doan at the fastest event in this meet. Very close indeed, but right now it looks like Love in lane 3. Haley Rose Love brings it in, lane 3. Down in lane 6, Taylor, lane 2, finishes second, and Halstein in lane 7 takes third. Winning time 23:76. And 23:85 was the time needed for All-American consideration. And that's certainly met by Haley Rose Love, the Heritage Senior.
Very strong swim, and of course, really with the sprint, it's not so much a matter of technique as some of the other events that require a lot of endurance, but it's really how fast can you get in the water, and how fast can you push it? It's really,
how fast can you get out?
Exactly.
San Ramon Valley sophomore Kaylee Steffens in lane 1 of this girls' 50-yard freestyle final. Clayton Valley Charter Junior Taylor Thorson, lane 2. Mallory Hahn, the Carondelet freshman, lane 3. Iris Brand, the Amador Valley sophomore, the defending champion, in lane 4. Campolindo sophomore Mary Ashby, lane 5. Marin Academy sophomore Madeline Selesky, lane 6. Bridget Winkler, the Tamalpais freshman, lane 7. And Monte Vista senior Sydney Cook, lane 8. Brand brings a 23:20 into this event. That's an automatic All-American time. Surrounding her, Hahn, lane 3, and Ashby and Selesky in lane 5 and 6 all bring All-American consideration times in this pool.
And of course, all the All-American consideration automatic times, all underclassmen. Impressive. Very much so.
Hahn, the Carondelet freshman, and Carondelet coaching staff right on our right. Perhaps you can hear them through our mics. Again, keep your eye on lanes 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1 freshman, 3 sophomores. We're underway.
22:61 is the NCS meet record set in 2009 by Kate.
And a strong start by Brand in lane 4, as well as Steffens in lane 1.
It looks like Brand turning first from lane.
Brand down in lane 8. A strong swim by Cook, the Monte Vista senior. But Brand, look at that, the race for second. Brand brings it in, 22:96. Just off the meet record, finishing second is Ashby in lane 5 and Selesky in lane 6. It was a sophomore kind of showing here in the girls 50 free.
And based on the prelim times, you wouldn't have really have expected anything less. I mean, Iris Brand, even with a prelim time at 23:2, the fastest one, even beat that.
Absolutely amazing, and the future looking very bright in this event for so many different high schools. California Interscholastic Federation is the governing body of high school sports in the state of California. There are 10 sections, and different sports advance to different levels. We've certainly seen the state in football, basketball, volleyball. Swimming ends here at the sectional level. Very exciting boys volleyball, which previously had ended at the sectional level, gets a chance at a Northern California and a Southern California championship this year. Boy, the swimming, I mean, there's so much goes into the sport of swimming, as you all know, and for swimmers at this caliber, high school is one thing, but they have so many meets outside of high school. It is kind of difficult to imagine if they could eventually have a state championship, but I booked my ticket now. I want to make sure I'm there when that happens.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things that because there isn't one there, you can only imagine what the possibilities are like if something ever happens. I mean, but don't sell it short. I mean, case in point, there's always this talk about what if college football had a playoff? I mean, what if there was some way to get it done? Well, lo and behold, they have some facsimile of a playoff structure. Now, it's probably going to expand as more traction gets behind it. But I'll tell you what, for a state meet, could you imagine how much publicity that would get? especially when you consider if a lot of these swimmers are going to be going to schools that have a very strong swimming program, and on top of that, could be teammates of some Olympic heroes. I mean, that's something that would really generate a lot of interest, I can tell you that much.
So many of the seniors who are graduating from the North Coast section this year on to compete in NCAA Division I schools. I mean, from Harvard to Brown to Texas to the California schools. Absolutely the cream of the crop here in this section. And time now for the boys' consolation 50-yard freestyle. College preparatory freshman Grant Watson, lane 1. San Ramon Valley in lane 2 and 3. Both seniors, Tyler Martin, lane 2. Cody Tanabe, lane 3. Granada junior Bryce McLagan in lane 4. Graham Spursum out of Novato, lane 5. Connor Turcat of San Francisco University, lane 6. Garrett Middleton, the Los Lomas junior, lane 7. Victor Deng of Castro Valley, lane 8. 50-yard consolation places 9th through 16th to be determined, and really close to call between McLaughlin and Spursum in lane 4 and 5. McLaughlin takes it. Actually, lane 6, Turcat finishes second, and in lane 3, Tanabe, lane 3, the winning time 21:24, but very little separating first through third place.
Basically, you could have all just put a line right in front of them and just bring them along there, because that's how close it was. But here's what I'm looking for, and this is something that's kind of in the back of my mind. Is there a possibility in this 50-yard freestyle final that someone cracks 20 seconds? Now, we're talking the sub 20-second time.
There is anticipation because the last year's record setter is in this meet. Lane 1's Miramani Jr. Gabe Osler. Sean Bloor, the Monte Vista Junior, lane 2. David Morgan, the senior out of De La Salle, lane 3. The defending champ, the record setter, Campolindo senior Sven Campbell in lane 4. His record he set last year, 20:23. Heritage senior Ryan Barsanti, lane 5. Grant Sivasend of Campolindo, lane 6. Jonathan Farbman, the Terra Linda sophomore, lane 7. Matt Horner, the Los Lomas senior, lane 8. 2 swimmers bring in automatic All-American times. Campbell, Barsanti, 4 more bring in All-American consideration. 20:36 is the time coming in for Campbell. That's just off his record-setting time last year.
Well, like you said, we are looking at Sven Campbell, who came within a couple tenths of a second of a sub 20 time. So if anybody can do it, Sven Campbell might be the one.
Campbell has set records in the 100 free, 100 back, and the 50 free. Will he set another one today? He is in lane 4, the Campolindo senior. We're underway.
See what kind of a first split he has.
Good start by Osler in lane 1, as well as Campbell in lane 4. Sven Campbell.
Oh, it's very close.
Very close indeed. Campbell finishes 20:45. Lane 5's Barsanti finishes second. Lane 3, Morgan finishing third. So the seeding holds out as lane 4, 5, and 3 take the top 3. Those guys were blazing.
Not wasting any time.
So slower than yesterday for Campbell. Brings in a 20:36 yesterday. He finishes 20:45, but 4 swimmers breaking 21 seconds in this event.
I mean, even with the 1 through 4 finishers, I mean, all within about at least 0.2 seconds of each other. I mean, it was such a close race. But I mean, with these sprints, you have to expect it to be fast and furious. If you get off rhythm in your stroke early on, forget it. I mean, because there's just not enough time, and there's not enough of a distance in these meets to really make up for it. But you have to be on it right from the first stroke. Otherwise, you can just kiss your hopes goodbye.
Exciting afternoon here at Cal Pool in Concord, California. Sven Campbell, the senior, with another win. And, you know, along with Sven Campbell, Steven Stump, Jackson Miller, some great swimmers, great senior class, same on the girls' side. And this was the final 50 free at the high school level for Campbell.
That was kind of bittersweet when you think about it that way.
High school with a time of 20.88, David Morgan.
And this is kind of one of those things where we brought it up. You wish that there was a state meet for events like this. You really do. I mean, but I think with all the sections that are around, I mean, the logistics of it would get a little bit complicated, I would imagine. But you get it in sort of a facility that can handle that type of crowd, that type of a spectacle. Boy.
Freestyle with a winning time of 20.45 from Campolindo.
Campolindo senior, Sven Campbell, getting a hug, a flower, carnation, and a medal. You're watching PlayOnSports.com's coverage of the North Coast Swimming and Diving Championships from Cow Pool in Concord, California. This meet has a break built into it. That break is coming right now. We're going to step away for just a few moments, but we will return shortly. More swimming at its best here in the state of California when we return to PlayOnSports.com.
Fans, welcome back to the NCS Boys and Girls Swimming Finals. And if you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the meet you are enjoying here this afternoon, tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Kirsten Fairchilds alongside Philip Kern at Cow Pool in Concord, California. Thank you so much for joining us. The 2013 North Coast Section Swimming and Diving Championship meet. Just finished up the 50 free results. We'd also like to, Philip, talk a little bit about the diving, which took place a couple of days ago. Haley Blount out of San Marin setting a new meet record in terms of score. 5:13.50 was her total. The senior out of San Marin finishing second. Emily Weideman of Irvington, a sophomore. Lauren Hall, the junior of Amador Valley, taking third. On the boys' side, Granada senior Matt Tyler edging out Logan Mitchell, another senior out of Livermore, by 1 point, 390.35. The winning score over 389.35, and not too far behind Montgomery junior Tanner McDonald. You know, the diving they always have to hold separately for the swimming. Obviously, there's different constraints that they need, but I've had the pleasure of covering diving over the years, and I think with the popularity of the show Splash recently and just the great showing by Americans at the Olympics, diving is really on the rise, and it's a chance for gymnasts. It's such a natural segue for them into diving.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, a lot of those same disciplines as far as tumbling and sort of making sure you stick your landings and everything. A lot of those basic principles do translate into diving, except you're not landing on a floor. It's more of you're going right into water. So, but like you said, I mean, diving is especially starting to take hold. I mean, but it's one of those things where when the Americans do well in an Olympic event, then the intrigue starts to pick up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, if we're not successful at a sport, you just think, oh, well, whatever. I mean, there's not the interest there. I mean,
right.
I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why soccer, I mean, while it's making some ground now, it's taken a while for it. Because people look at it and just go, well, I mean, first off, U.S. hasn't done all that well in it. And so you look at it from that point. I mean, you compare it to the track and field, to basketball, to baseball even. I mean, softball for a while it was in the Olympics before it got pushed aside. I mean, these were a lot of sports that the U.S. did very well in, and of course, with that, you're going to get that captivated viewer base and think, you know what, maybe this is something that, especially if they're growing up, and you look at somebody like a Carl Lewis from Olympics past, or you look at somebody like a Jackie Joyner-Kersee, for instance, same deal. I mean, of course, swimming, I mean, for the early 90s, Janet Evans was the big name during the Olympics. Of course, recently you've had Michael Phelps and, of course, Missy Franklin. I mean, just a lot of these swimmers, I mean, sort of their peak visibility only happens during the Olympics, but you can see it. They have a commitment to try to make swimming more of a sport that people pay attention to year-round, not just once every 4 years.
Well, in the sport of swimming, it's something that people can do throughout their lives.
Sure.
Such great fitness, aerobic capacity, etc. And here at the North Coast section, such great swimmers who've come out of the section, like Natalie Coughlin, Pablo Morales. Certainly the Bay Area, and just all the things done by George Haynes down at the Santa Clara International Swim Center. We're at the only scheduled break during this meet. Comes after the 50 free. We'll return with the 100-yard butterfly, and it looks like we're getting close to that start. And now the consolation final for the girls 100-yard butterfly. Lane 1, Danny Orlandi, the San Ramon Valley senior. Annie Larson out of Miramonte in lane 2. Campolindo Jr. Allison Stevens, lane 3. Brittany Usinger, the Akalani sophomore, in lane 4. We, I believe, had her older brother in a previous event.
There you go.
San Ramon Valley's Heidi Pop in lane 5. Callie Conlon out of California, lane 6. Aislinn Dressel, Marin Catholic, lane 7. Victoria Lee out of Maria Carrillo, lane 8. This is the girls 100-yard consolation. The meet record set last year by Selena Lee. 53:07. Places 9 through 16 will be determined here as the Butterflyers are in the pool.
Not something you hear every day. Butterflies in the pool.
And a strong start by a number of swimmers, as it looks like Pop in lane 5 off to a nice start. Good start by Danny Orlandi here in lane 1 as well. Lane 1, bottom of your screen. Lane 8, top of your screen. Lane 4 brings in the highest seed, the quickest time, and we're dead even between Akalani sophomore and San Ramon Valley junior. Usinger and Pop coming into this event, they actually tied yesterday.
And Orlandi, after that first 50 yards, only 0.1 seconds behind, so she is giving Heidi Pop everything she can handle.
So Pop in lane 5, Conlon in lane 6, and Orlandi staying strong in lane 1. It's going to be close. It goes Usinger in 55.91. Conlon finishes second. Lane 2's Annie Larson finishes third, and Orlandi settles for fourth here in this consolation final.
Well, Brittany Usinger, it seemed like for those first 50 yards, she was starting to have a little bit of a hard time, but once she got into a rhythm, that's when she started to pull away. And Heidi Pop at first, we thought she was going to take that 100-yard event by the throat, and she just kind of tightened up towards the end, and Brittany Usinger saw that opportunity and just shifted gears and just got at it.
Lane assignments for the final. Campolindo Jr. Hannah Grubbs, lane 1. San Ramon Valley freshman Gianna Garcia, lane 2. Megan Campbell, the junior out of San Marin, lane 3. Albany sophomore Ariane Sagafi, lane 4. Foothill senior, the record holder, Selena Lee, comes in lane 5. Carondelet freshman Madeline Murphy, lane 6. Las Lomas senior Kelsey Leonard, lane 8. Hilvi Chong, the American senior, out of lane 8. Every swimmer in this final has either recorded an All-American consideration time of 56.52 or an automatic All-American time, 55.39. 2 of those swimmers beat those times coming in. Actually, 3 swimmers beat that time coming in. Again, the record 53.07 set by Selena Lee last year. She brought a 54.38 into this event, and she's in lane 5.
Even though the 54.38 was enough for her to really get into these finals, I don't think the 54.38 is going to win this event. So you can really bet that she's going to kick it up another notch here.
Sagafi, the sophomore, in lane 4. Lee, the senior, lane 5. So Sagafi with the lead after the first length. Great underwater work by Lee. Sagafi with the slight edge. Lee right alongside her. Good swim by Garcia in lane 2.
25-16 from lane 5. That's Selena Lee.
Sagafi with the slight edge. Starts and turns so important in these events, and Sagafi with some great turns, but does she have enough to hold off Lee? Sagafi, lane 4. Lane 5 is Lee Murphy in 6, and an upset has been recorded. 4, 5, and 6 lanes. 4, 5, and 6 go 1, 2, 3. Sagafi, 53-46. Lee finishes 2nd, and Murphy as 3rd. The future looking bright for Albany High School.
Well, I think you said it. I think we had our first upset really of this entire meet. I mean, Sagafi upsetting the Goliath of this 100-yard butterfly. I mean, you were talking about last year's NCS meet record holder, just especially from last year. And Ariana Sagafi says, hey, this isn't just for the upperclassmen here. It's time for the underclassmen to make some noise a little bit. And she takes everybody by surprise, and especially through that last 25 yards, it just all of a sudden just you see her pulling away, and Selena Lee just did not have enough through those last 25 yards. And really, I think even she'd probably be surprised herself, thinking, "Oh wow," kind of fell off towards the end. I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, Ariana Sagafi swam a great race there. But again, I mean, this is probably one of the first upsets we've seen already this afternoon.
A great afternoon thus far for Sagafi. We had her in contention previously, and here she comes through the butterfly. Such a challenging event. I always think for beginning swimmers, too, when you first get in the pool. And I am the daughter of a butterflyer, so I can speak from a butterflyer and a backstroker, so I can speak to this. It's like, wait, it takes a lot of effort to do the butterfly.
Absolutely.
And we just see the strength, and what a fine performance by the Amador sophomore. And Lee thinking it over, perhaps. These swimmers obviously have their specializations in certain events, but when it comes to high school, they get asked sometimes to do things that are perhaps outside their specialty, anything they can do to help their teams. And again, the team contention, we'll have those results for you at the conclusion of the meet. Camp Alindo looking for its 9th straight boys title. San Ramon Valley looking for a three-peat on the girls' side.
And a lot at stake even with these individual results going on, because I mean, even with just the consolation and the finals, I mean, I know the finals are really more focused on individual results, and rightfully so, but even if there's just a top 3 finish for one of these swimmers, I mean, especially for the schools they represent,
right,
I mean, it all counts.
And I'm not sure what the delay is. I'm not sure if there was a disqualification or something needs to be addressed. But obviously a delay here. Everyone looking up at the clock. The second lane has now disappeared from the clock, the time. And while we have the short break, fill us in.
Jasmine, go to the board. Absolutely, and of course, next weekend, Play on Sports will have live coverage of North Coast Section Championships in boys and girls lacrosse, girls soccer, and track and field. Starting Friday, May 24th, and continuing on Saturday, May 25th, you can catch all the action live. Don't forget to check the Play on Sports broadcast schedule page for information on all of our upcoming broadcasts from around the North Coast Section and beyond. The spring championships are here, only on PlayOnSports.com.
15-meter violation.
So we had a disqualification. That was the delay, and being disqualified is the San Ramon Valley freshman Gianna Garcia. We're not exactly sure why. Perhaps a 15-meter violation.
Wow.
But our first DQ, actually now the confirmation. So a little bit of delay. The one thing about the swim meet, oh my gosh, the officials, the crew, the timers, there's so many, the volunteers, there are so many people that put on, it takes a village to put on a swim meet, so big thanks to everyone for getting their information to us as quickly as possible. We certainly appreciate. You're watching the North Coast Section Championships on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sport. And boys, a lot of excitement coming up, and with all these regional championships and NorCal and state, it's a busy time of the year for all of us here at PlayOnSports.com, but we wouldn't be anywhere else.
No, absolutely not. These are the seasons we look forward to, where you get to see the best of the best in high school sports. I mean, of course, the North Coast section, the Central Coast section, Sac Joaquin section. I mean, we're going to be all over the place. All over the place. I mean, not just here in California, but really around the country as well. So any section that you are most interested in, we're going to have it most likely.
You make sure you constantly are checking our page. Again, big thanks to our meet director, Steve Guthrie, the De La Salle coach, assistant meet director, Todd Crone, everyone on the North Coast Section Swim Committee. Our referee again today is Jerry Ing. Our producer is Omar Lewis for PlayOnSports.com. On camera, Brad Youngquist. Alongside Philip Kern, I'm Kirsten Fairchild. Thank you so much for joining us. Boys, 100-yard butterfly. Consolation final up next. Athenian sophomore Zach Otati in lane 1. Michael Choi, the senior out of Mission San Jose, lane 2. Castro Valley senior Bronson Brown, lane 3. Mikhail Zyla, the Northgate junior, lane 4. College prep freshman Grant Watson, lane 5. Shannon Fong out of Maria Carrillo, lane 6. Walter Fanning out of Heritage, lane 7. And Nick Insera, the Acalanes junior, lane 8. The meet record was set yesterday by Stephen Stumpf of Campolindo. And Stumpf will be the top seed in the finals. This is the consolation final, places 9 through 16 to be determined, and a very even start by practically the entire field.
Exactly, especially through lanes 4 through 6 so far. And you're seeing it right now, 4 and 5. Same, actually lane 6, Shannon Fong with the early lead, 23.69 on that first 50 yards.
Fong looking very strong indeed, but here it is, the final leg. Fong, Watson, and Zyla. Right now, Fong and Watson, it'll be the finish. Oh. And Watson got him. Watson, 9/100ths of a second in front of Fong, and finishing third is Zyla, perhaps the closest race, the closest finish of the afternoon.
Probably to my recollection, that's probably correct at this point, but what I'm noticing here on that scoreboard is lane 2 didn't register a time, so maybe another mishap, another disqualification perhaps, we don't know. But
that lane 2 is being problematic, if you will. Time now for our final. Amador Valley's seniors in lane 1 and 2. Lane 1, Jason Chen. Brian Hughes in lane 2. Monte Vista senior Dylan Williams, lane 3. The defending champion, the record holder, Campolindo Stephen Stumpf in lane 4. Granada freshman Maxime Rooney in lane 5. San Marin senior Kenneth Castro Abrams in lane 6. Arhan Sharma, the college prep sophomore, lane 7. And San Ramon Valley senior Cody Tanabe in lane 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 of the swimmers in this event already have met the All-American time. The other 2 All-American consideration. Again, the time to beat 47.91 set by Stumpf yesterday.
And what an opportunity for Maxime Rooney, the freshman from Granada, gets to line up in one lane over from the favorite, Stephen Stumpf. I mean, what an experience that is for the freshman. It's like, hey, it's your first final. Congratulations. You're one lane over from the defending champ. Good luck.
He brings a 48.97 time into this. 6 swimmers broke 50 yesterday. Will someone break the record today, and will it be Stumpf improving upon yesterday's results? Stumpf in lane 4, the Granada freshman Rooney in lane 5, the 100-yard butterfly underway. Stumpf looking really strong indeed.
That first 25 yards, he's really wanting to take this meet by the throat.
Great underwater work by Stumpf. Very close indeed on this first 50. And it's Chen in lane 1, blistering 22.47 with the lead.
Looks like he's starting to lose a little steam, though. The first 50 yards were good, but I don't think he's going to quite hold it up.
Stumpf looking to wrap up his senior year. Chen looking still strong in lane 1, but Stumpf with the edge. Stumpf will out-touch, and in fact, Chen finishes third. It's the freshman Rooney taking 7th, 47.88. This would be A new meet record for Stump. We will wait for the official word, but nevertheless, wow, what a back-to-back performance in consecutive days by Stephen Stump.
No, and what's nice is during those first 50 yards, Stump didn't panic, even though Jason Chen had the faster time on those first 50 splits. But I'll tell you what, I mean, even Chen had a very nice showing, finishing third. So nothing to be complaining about. But I'll tell you what, Maxime Rooney finishing second and basically giving Stephen Stump everything he could handle. But Stump definitely the class of this meet, as you would probably imagine.
Everyone breaks 50. Everyone records an All-American automatic time. Wow. A blistering 100-yard fly. Congratulations to Stephen Stump. What a career. Again, Rooney, the freshman, finishes second in 48.32. And then Shen in 48.45, taking third place. An outstanding 100-yard fly event.
Well, you want to talk about a stacked field. I mean, you just brought it up. Every swimmer with an All-American time. I mean, that is tough. I mean, with a field like that for Stephen Stump to set another NCS meet record, that's a talented swimmer.
Camp Alindo's head coach is Ron Haydary. He graduates Stephen Stump and Sven Campbell this year.
Wow.
I'm sure so sorry to see him go, but a huge step forward to sewing up a 9th consecutive championship for Camp Alindo. Stump with big help. Chance to mention some of the other coaches. Carondelet, coached by Jasmine Milan. San Ramon Valley, Heather Johnston. During the break, Philip had a chance to walk around the deck. USC, Cal Poly, I mean, just the college coaches or parts of the coaching staff here walking around. It just kind of lends to the atmosphere that when it comes to North Coast swimming, it really is the real deal.
Well, they realize that there's a pipeline up here of great swimming talent. I mean, we talked about it already, but they sort of want to keep tabs on it, saying, okay, we may have already had our commitments for this upcoming school year, but who is somebody else we got to keep an eye on for the next couple years?
Rooney, the freshman.
Right, there you go. Just what we were talking about.
Consolation final for the girls 100-yard freestyle. Taylor Thorson out of Clayton Valley Charter, lane 1. Ty Halstein and Marin Academy, lane 2. Megan Bikamong, Camp Alindo Senior, lane 3. Mary Woods, the Livermore freshman, in lane 4. Marissa Berg, Dougherty Valley Senior, lane 5. Carondelet freshman, Mallory Hahn, lane 6. Dougherty Valley sophomore, Danielle Taylor, lane 7. And California junior, Robin Lamprin, lane 8. This is the girls 100-yard freestyle. NCS section sent by Kim Vandenberg of Camp Alindo back in 2000. So one of the oldest records on the book here in the consolation final. And it looks like Taylor out in lane 7 and Woods in lane 4, sophomore and freshman with the early lead.
And you're talking about records. There's a familiar name on here.
There is, Missy Franklin.
Exactly. National individual record time back in 2010. So this was even before her debut on the London stage.
That's right. So lane 7's Taylor brings it in. Taylor finishes first. Woods in lane 4 is second, and Lamprin of lane 8 finishes third.
Well, Danielle Taylor seals up 9th for this event. And a really nice showing too. Not quite enough for All-American consideration, but very close.
Final lane assignments for the girls 100-yard free. Mission San Jose sophomore Megan Crook in lane 1. Marin Academy sophomore Madeline Selesky, lane 2. Madeline Murphy, the Carondelet freshman, lane 3. Iris Brand, the Amador Valley sophomore, lane 4. Carondelet senior, lane 5, Madison White. Mary Ashby out of Camp Alindo, lane 6. Haley Rose Love, the Heritage Senior, lane 7, and Annalie Senior, Rebecca Baxley, lane 8. Brand brings a 50-40 in this event. Again, the North Coast section meet record 49-41. Brand's going to have to come through with the swim of her life in this event to beat that NCS record.
Absolutely.
So Missy Franklin out of Regis Jesuit in Colorado, the national independent record set back in 2010, 48:39. And we have a number of underclassmen in this event, and we've already been calling their names all meet long. Again, the future, you know, so much attention's been given to the strong senior class out of the section. The future looking very bright indeed.
Well, absolutely. I mean, the senior class deserves all the credit they get because of all the records that have basically been smashed throughout this entire swimming season. But again, you're seeing a lot of underclassmen taking part in these NCS finals. I mean, that pipeline's still going to continue.
Rebecca Baxley, in fact, down in lane 8, will go to the University of Texas on an athletic scholarship, and she's down in lane 8. Underway, the 100-yard freestyle champion.
Mary Ashby with a nice push off from the get-go, and she's got herself into the early contention here.
Brand in lane 4 looking strong as well. Brand with the early lead, then it's a 5-swimmer race for second. Brand with a good turn. White alongside her in lane 5, and Murphy, the freshman, in lane 3.
So far, holding up pretty nicely. Could potentially be a record-setting pace if Iris Brand keeps this up.
Brand took it out in 24:14. She's in the lead. White right alongside pushing her. Then Murphy in lane 3. Brand brings it in a time of 49:85. 4100ths, more than 4100ths off the record. But Iris Brand, a double winner thus far, the Amador Valley sophomore.
She's had a very nice afternoon going on. I mean, already 2 championships under her belt. And we're going to enjoy watching her for the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Wait to hear the official word on second and third place. Again, all swimmers who are competing today, places 1 through 8, places 9 through 16, they all contribute points to the team standings. And Brand with the winning time, 49:85. White finishes second in 50:16. And Murphy finishing third. Out again, that freshman from Carondelet. I think when it comes to, you know, events like golf, maybe tennis, swimming for sure, that the underclassmen really have the opportunity to shine. Sure. Some sports you have to wait until the bodies develop, the mindsets or what have you. But swimming, you often see freshmen come in and then dominate for 4 years, as the case for a number of these senior classmen.
Right, exactly, because it really is a place where if you've got the talent for it, you have the opportunity to really assert yourself from day one. I mean, like you mentioned, there's some other sports that you can't wait for the bodies to develop. I mean, football, obviously, what you talk about, basketball, obviously, baseball as well. But with swimming, if you got the talent, you can put yourself right at the forefront as a freshman. So it's really one of those unique sports where, I mean, there's obviously some cases where body development has to come in because, I mean, there's some techniques that have to be learned if you want to put yourself really over the top and really be considered among the best, at least in the section. But, I mean, you can at least put the building blocks there by swimming actual meets. You don't have to sit on a bench and watch other people do it for a while before you get your opportunity. It's really sort of more of a learn-on-the-job type of sport, and it really benefits a lot of them, too.
PlayOnSports.com is proud to bring you coverage of the 2013 North Coast Section Swimming and Diving Championships. We're at Cow Pool in Concord, California, an absolutely beautiful Saturday afternoon. Again, 10 sections in the state of California, about 130 schools in the North Coast section, most in the East Bay or North Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. Time now for the boys 100-yard freestyle consolation final. Acalanes Jr. Zach Newman's in lane 1. Nate Kuhn of Annalee, lane 2. Next to him, Marin Catholic senior Thomas Carroll. Henry Bear of the Acalanes Jr. lane 4. Jake Frigard out of Clayton Valley Charter lane 5. Nick Pasachuk of San Ramon Valley lane 6. Las Lomas sophomore Matt Horner lane 7. Miles Teague, the Castro Valley Jr. lane 8. The NCS meet record set last year by Sven Campbell of Campolindo, and Campbell not in the final this year, opting for other events. This is the consolation final. Bear in lane 4, currently trailing. It's Pasachuk down in lane 6 with the lead. So the San Ramon Valley senior, also strong swim by Teague in lane 8. And lane 2, Nate Kuhn. We got the outside smoke going on.
Oof. All coming from the outside, and of course there it is. Nate Kuhn touches first. He gets the win.
And down in lane 8, Teague finishes second, and lane 6, Pasachuk finishing third. The 9th place time by Kuhn, 46.77, as getting ready now for the final in this event. Monte Vista Junior Sean Bloor is in lane 1. Jonathan Fardman, the Terra Linda sophomore, lane 2. Gabe Osler, the Miramonte Junior, lane 3. David Morgan, the senior out of De La Salle, lane 4. It's going to get really noisy here in just a few minutes.
Oh, of course.
Ryan Barsanti, the Heritage Senior, lane 5. Campolindo Junior, Grant Sivison, lane 6. Terra Linda Junior, Nick Bigot, lane 7. And Bryce McLaughlin, the Granada Junior, lane 8. And we are happy to be seated at the De La Salle table. Thanks to them for making room for us. But they are going to get really loud as David Morgan, close to wrapping up his career here at De La Salle.
Well, exactly, and of course, the meet director being one of the head coaches at De La Salle as well. He's been sitting with us and really been a great help to us, trying to get acclimated here and figuring out what all is going to be happening today. But he's going to get pretty fired up over this one. That's just a guess.
Absolutely, and David Morgan heading to USC in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
One of the many athletes going to the Pac-12. But here he is, the top seed, bringing a time of 45.64 in this event, just 3 100ths better than Barsanti in lane 5. So the 2 top seeds, both seniors, the only seniors in this field.
Championship final, boys 100-yard freestyle.
Again, Campbell sent the record in this event last year, not in this event here today. Morgan and Barsanti, lanes 4 and 5.
Both Morgan and 4 and Barsanti in 5 were 45.6 yesterday.
And head coach saying Morgan slow into the pool. A little behind after the dive. And lane 7's Nick Bagot with a strong opening swim. But Morgan making up ground.
Oh, yeah. It didn't take him long. He may have had a slow start in those first 25 yards, but that's all in the past now.
Morgan 21.58. Just 4 100ths in front of his nearest competitor. And now the coaches on their feet. Morgan in lane 4. Barsanti lane 5 coming down to the touch, and Barsanti with the edge. 45.07 in front of Morgan and 45.32. Third place is Sivison, and Ryan Barsanti, the Heritage Senior, giving his school something to cheer about.
And that was going to be down to the wire finish. David Morgan, it looked like for that middle 50 yards, it seemed like, hey, he was going to take hold of it, but what a hard charge by Barsanti. Those last 25 yards really got that last touch in there. Nicely done.
The top 2 swimmers making the All-American automatic times. And Ryan Barsanti, and I don't know if our viewers can hear over the PA, they had to page the Heritage coach. The coach of the winning athlete gives out the awards, and not sure if what he was expecting there, but his swimmer coming through with the win.
Well, at the worst case, you could probably consider that a pleasant surprise.
There you go.
If nothing else, if they had to page a Heritage coach, he's probably pleasantly surprised at this point. I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to mind too much.
So a great swim by Heritage senior Ryan Bersante. A small upset, if you will, not too much separating. Again, the defending champ electing not to swim in this event.
I mean, even in the prelims, not much separating them either. 4/100ths of a second in their prelim time. So, I mean, if you really had to pin this event down to 2 people, those were going to be it.
Finishing in 4th place from lane 7 with a time of 45.71, representing Terralinda, Nick Bigo.
And while we have a little bit of a break in the action, let you know that Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
So David Morgan, the runner-up, getting a big round of applause. Again, he's headed to USC, Southern Cal,
in the 100-yard freestyle.
in the fall.
45.07 from lane 5, representing Heritage, Ryan Bersante.
Ryan Bersante out of Heritage. All the fans gathered around. Big afternoon for him. Well, we had the sprints earlier. Now the time for the longer distances. The girls' 500-yard freestyle event. Consolation finals. Campolinda senior Erica Muller, lane 1. Livermore senior Maria Carlson, lane 2. Claire Boom, the Quarry lane freshman, in lane 3. Miramonte junior Annie Larson, lane 4. Alameda freshman Laura Thornshell, lane 5. Carondelet sophomore Grace Szafransky, lane 6. Kimberly Baca of Tamalpais, the senior, lane 7. And Monica Sears, the Sir Francis Drake freshman, in lane 8. The North Coast section meet. Record set by Chelsea Chanot of Carondelet last year. She will be in the final, but right now a lot of underclassmen in this consolation final.
Absolutely, and actually a really nice mix of everyone from freshman through seniors. So pretty much all that's at stake right now is just some points towards the team finals. But I mean, there's still an opportunity to get some All-American consideration times here too. So there's a little bit of a personal investment here.
Yeah, and I think that, depending on what level your high school swims at or what have you, that this is an event where a number of coaches really have to appeal to their athletes.
Sure.
It's obviously the longer distances. In fact, just, All-American consideration time coming into this is 4:57.96. Only one of the swimmers coming into this consolation final even close to reaching the 5-minute mark. But this is where you also make up points.
Yes.
Chance for some big points here, and chance for swimmers to get in the good graces of their coaches if this isn't a natural event for them. And with the lead at the moment, it's Szafransky, the Carondelet sophomore, and in lane 4, Annie Larson, the Miramonte junior, in second.
Of course, this is more the cross-country marathon style swimming, if you will. Just the endurance. You just see just what kind of physical condition these swimmers are. If you want to really find a good test to see how you are endurance-wise for swimming, try one of these. See how far you get.
Absolutely. Is Larson making a move out of lane 4? I always think this event is so fun at the masters level, because when you think about it, when people step into the pool for fitness, this event you're more likely to swim this event than do a 50 free and be out.
Sure.
You wouldn't consider that a workout. So I think for the recreational swimmer or what have you, this event's very appealing to them.
Sure.
So Larson at the halfway point with 2 minutes 27:11 with the lead in front of Szafransky in lane 6, and then Thornshell in lane 5.
I can tell you though, with the high school meets, especially at the far end where the grandstands are, I never thought I'd see a swim meet where some of the fellow participants or what have you can get up so close.
Right.
I never thought I'd see that.
They are right there. You know, it's not an exceptionally hot day, but perhaps that's a hot ticket on a hot day, a chance to get some splash off the turn.
Sure.
As Larson has it dialed in now in lane 4, extending her lead, and Fornshell moving up into second.
Yeah, right now, 3:28.19 right now, and really keeping a healthy lead on her competitor. I mean, the next closest swimmer is Fornshell, at least around 2.5 seconds behind her.
So Larson, a junior, Fornshell, a freshman, and Sazafrensky in lane 6, a sophomore. And again, we'll have a chance to see the North Coast section record holder, as this is one of Chanot's showcase events. She's up next. This determines places 9 through 16. As nearing the conclusion, Larson looking very strong indeed, but unable to completely shake the freshman Fornshell.
No.
As the bell lap, final lap for the girls 500-yard free consolation final.
And at this point, I don't think Annie Larson really has anything to worry about.
Nice third place race going on, however. As down in lane 8, the Sir Francis Drake freshman Monica Sears making things interesting. But a big congratulations to Annie Larson. The Miramonte Jr. is going to bring this in. Fornshell will be second. And can it be Sears, the freshman down in lane 8, for third? It is.
Ah, nice.
So 4:58.35, the winning time by Larson. That's more than 3 seconds better than her time yesterday. Big congratulations to her. Lane assignments for the final: Anna Henderson, the San Ramon Valley sophomore, lane 1. Kirsten Brand, the Amador Valley junior, lane 2. Mariah Simmons, the Granada freshman, lane 3. Chelsea Chanot, the Carondelet senior, in lane 4. Jenna Bauer, the Montgomery junior, lane 5. San Ramon Valley junior, Paige Matheson, lane 6. Kayla Jetter, the junior out of Foothill, lane 7. And Rachel Knowles, the sophomore out of Amador Valley, lane 8. So Amador Valley with 2 swimmers, and San Ramon Valley as well, a chance to rack up some big points.
And definitely a chance to rack some big points, and we've got a pretty good field here with 6 All-American consideration times at the very least. But of course, all eyes are going to be on Chelsea Chanot, who actually set the NCS meet record just last year at 4:38.05.
Well, Chelsea Chanot has set 4 North Coast section, or won 4 individual North Coast section titles. She'll head to USC in the fall.
Wow.
From Foothill, Kayla Jetter.
So much expected from Chanot, and nice to see someone shine in these longer distances and continue with that year after year.
Of course, it probably helps her if she ever wants to do shorter events. She already has that endurance edge, so she thinks, hey, if I can do the 500-yarder, this 100-yarder, or if she wants to do a 200-yard individual medley, should be cake.
So last year, her record-setting time, 4:38.05. Yesterday, she swam 4:40.59. And as Philip mentioned, 3 swimmers in this event with All-American automatic times, and just like that, Chanot's off to a quick start.
Well, the quick start, you really got to be a little careful with it, because this doesn't carry the same weight as the sprints, obviously, what we saw earlier. So really all about control, really making sure you get yourself in a good pace, good rhythm, and just let it take you all the way back.
Chanot in first, Bauer in lane 5, second, and Matherson in lane 6, currently in third.
the Olympic champion out of
This obviously Chelsea Chanot's race to lose, the clear favorite.
Certainly looking that way right now. Although up in lane 3, Mariah Simmons going toe-to-toe with Kirsten Brand. A little bit of a race for second there. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Jenna Bauer and Paige Matheson. I beg your pardon.
Yeah, the strategy, the talk, the self-talk in events like this. Just focusing on your stroke, what you're doing, but also being aware of what else is going on in the pool.
Absolutely. Got to have sort of that peripheral vision kind of mindset. Just be aware of everything that's going on around you. It's still a good fight for second place here. Bauer and Matheson just going toe-to-toe.
And Bauer breathing on both sides. Chanot electing just to breathe on the right. Bauer looking at Chanot on one side, looking at Matheson on the other. And she's currently in second as Chanot opening up her lead.
They're really starting to pull away and just showing how much she's built up as far as her endurance goes. And of course, keep in mind, again, we mentioned this before, set the NCS meet record last year, so perhaps looking to add another record to her long list of accomplishments too. Already at 2:18.62, at least 3.5 seconds ahead of Jenna Bauer, but Bauer and Matheson really going at it for second place. Only about 1.1 seconds separates them.
That's right, and Simmons, the Granada freshman in lane 3, in fourth. Just perfect form by Chanot. As the crowd picking up the cheers.
And Chanot's just widening her lead still. I mean, now we're looking at about 4.5 seconds or so, and just continuing to dominate. And even Bauer stretching it out over Matheson for second place, too. If it goes down to those last few legs, perhaps she might give herself a chance of catching Chanot, but even Chanot's already back going towards the grandstand, so she is just continuing to stretch it out. There you see it right there, over 6 seconds difference right now. That's just unbelievable.
Rondelet head coach Jasmine Milan will graduate 2 of her stars, Chelsea Chanot and Madison White. Chanot to USC, White to UCLA, as Chelsea Chanot putting on a clinic.
Oh, a clinic's probably the best way to put it. Now it's around 7 seconds separating her from second place. Unbelievable.
And Bauer still in second, and now Simmons in lane 3, currently in third, in front of Matheson.
There's the bell.
So once again, swimmers.
The final lap in the girls' 500-yard freestyle final for Chelsea Chanot.
And possibly going at a record pace here. That's pretty much all we're going to be looking at right now. Can she top her NCS meet record, 4:38.05? Right now we're looking at 4:29.30. She's within striking distance.
And everyone urging her on. Chanot wins going away. 4:39.11 off her record-setting time, but impressive nevertheless, as a strong swim by Bauer, followed by Simmons in third. Matheson will settle for fourth, but this was Chelsea Chanot's race, leading from start to finish.
It was basically the Chelsea Chanot show right from the get-go, and I mean, this was basically her event, and everyone else was just sort of a bystander at that point. So I mean, you can't really say it's a really big surprise But I mean, she came within a second of her NCS meet time. So I mean, I got the sense that maybe she kind of let off a little bit because you figured she probably had the race in hand. But I mean, to get that close to her record, I mean, she was still swimming pretty hard.
Yeah, and I think also, you know, Philip, swimming an event, especially when you're underclassmen with someone as heralded as Chelsea Chanot, actually being in the pool with them, competing against them, is a valuable learning experience.
Absolutely.
And here, they'll have a chance to watch it back when they visit www.playonsports.com and
oh, look at that segue.
Check out the action here. And, you know, you and I are going to have our work cut out for us, Philip, because at the end of this meet, we are going to have our selection committee of our own.
Yes, we are the self-appointed selection committee. So on that note, stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com post-game show where we, the self-appointed committee, will select our player of the game and have a live interview with that player. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Of course, we'll consult with the experts, and just having to pick just one boy swimmer and one girl swimmer and just such an elite field. I can't say I'm looking forward to it.
Well, if we have to have somebody flip a coin, I guess we can employ his services for at least a few seconds. So I don't think he'll mind too much.
Well, and absolutely, there's so many worthy candidates. And the boys' 500-yard free will be up next, and the consolation finalists anxious to get in the pool. In lane 1, we'll have Jack Ferguson, the senior out of Marin Academy. Anthony Young, the Mission San Jose sophomore, lane 2. San Ramon Valley freshman Jake Rollo, lane 3. Granado junior Trent Trump, lane 4. R.J. Scott, the Amador Valley sophomore, lane 5. California senior Connor Riley is in lane 6, alongside Miramonte senior Cameron Hoy. Mission San Jose Emil Graverson will be in lane 8. He is a junior. The record, this is another record that has stood for a number of years. John Dorr out of Las Lomas in 2001 set the record in this event, 4:25.98. And the national independent record set earlier this year by Jack Conger out of Good Counsel, Maryland, 4:13.87.
Of course, if you want to talk about a record that has really stood for a long time, there you see it, 1983 by Jeff Kostoff out of Upland, California, 4:16.39. So there's a record that has stood 30 years.
That's the national public. As the boys' 500-yard freestyle, so a mixture of under and upperclassmen in this event. Trump brings the quickest time in, 4:40.09. He is a junior out of Granada in lane 4. And he surfaces first in lane 4. Again, the junior, Trent Trump. Also a good start in lane 5 by R.J. Scott, the Amador Valley sophomore. Both on the girls and boys side, the Amador Valley sophomores today have been very impressive.
They really have. I mean, it's been an impressive showing for the whole swimming program, really. And in a mix of all the events, too. So very nicely done so far. And a little bit of a three-way fight here for first place early on in 3, 4, and 5 between Rollo, Trump, and Scott. Seem to be exchanging leads for the moment. You figure at some point during the middle leg, you're going to start to see some separation. We're already starting to see that here with R.J. Scott with the early lead, 1:19.45 after that first early split.
Scott looking strong, but plenty left to swim here as Scott and the freshman in lane 3, Rolo, first and second, as Trump in third, and not too far behind is Young in lane 2. R.J. Scott, the Amador Valley sophomore. As after this event, of course, we'll have the finals. And really looking forward to the 100 breaststroke as Steven Stump yesterday in the preliminaries tied a national high school record originally set by Brent Hansen, 53.67. He also set a record in the 100 butterfly yesterday. Hansen, that record has stood at since 2000 in Pennsylvania, and he went on to win 6 Olympic medals. So plenty of exciting swimming left to go today. You are watching the boys 500 free consolation final. R.J. Scott, the sophomore out of Amador Valley, with the lead, but certainly not as going away as Chanot in the girls' final.
It is still R.J. Scott in 5. Trent Trump moving up in lane 4, the junior from Granada.
Nearing the 3/4 mark. This race still up for grabs as Trump now closing the gap.
Closing the gap a little bit, and we'll see how R.J. Scott can hold him off a little bit, but you see it's definitely closing in. Only 1.18 seconds separates them, and in an event like this, when it's all endurance, as long as you keep that pace, there could be a chance for some overtake.
Trump lengthening his stroke, and in the lead, coming into the bell lap. How much gas does Scott have left in the tank?
At this point, it's starting to maybe going empty as Trent Trump has taken the lead now.
Scott was a 440.26. It's like each of these swimmers could break the 4.
Trent Trump, the Granada junior, half a length lead, extending it out to a full. As Scott will take second. Trump is your winner. And down in lane 6 is Connor Riley.
R.J. Scott, each of those guys improving on their prelim swim. Third at 4:43.25 is lane 6. That's Connor Riley.
Lane assignments for the boys 500-yard freestyle final. Tony Shen of Foothill, the junior, lane 1. Kevin Mertz of Santa Rosa, lane 2. Talbot Jacobs, the college prep junior, lane 3. Clayton Young, the senior out of San Ramon Valley, lane 4. Jackson Miller out of Las Lomas, lane 5. Maxime Rooney, the Granada freshman, in lane 6. Miguel Maddox, the Tampa Pie senior, lane 7. And Eric Van Brocklin, the sophomore out of Northgate, lane 8. Very little separates lanes 3 through 5, all who have recorded the All-American automatic time.
And then one that we were talking about Maxime Rooney. I mean, he already had a very strong showing in the 100, but there was some speculation as to what he was actually going to participate in. But there's a couple of events that got confirmed before the NCS finals happened. One of them was this one right here, 500 free. This is sort of the one that he wanted to swim in. So we'll see if this is because of his. This is more of his, more the one he wants to do. If that plays any difference in regards to how the results play out.
Clayton Young, the senior, 4:27.26, coming into this event for San Ramon Valley. As the swimmers up on the blocks. And a good start by Young, as well as Jackson Miller.
And Miller already, who once had the title, the same title that Maxime Rooney had, sort of that freshman phenom, but now that Miller is a senior, obviously the term freshman phenom doesn't exactly apply anymore. But
senior standout?
We could do that. That could work. It probably applies.
Jackson Miller with a big lead early from lane 5.
Miller in front of Rooney. Rooney, a big swim earlier.
Miller looking strong at 48.25 after 100 yards. Second is Maxime Rooney. He was the runner-up in the 100 butterfly. So Miller already with one title today. He was the champion in the 200 freestyle with a 135.8.
Wow.
Here he's a 115.
As you're probably hearing over the
Rooney, 117.4.
over the speakers, Jackson Miller already with one title under his belt today. So, as the saying goes, twice as nice.
That's right. And early on here, already a 3.5 second lead over Rooney.
NCS meet record. You got to go all the way back to 2001. That's John Doerr of Las Lomas, who was a 425.98. 140.3.
Dude, he is going to go
after 200 yards for Miller in lane 5.
Did he stroke it so
And of course, we just mentioned this before, but I want to let you know again that our coverage of North Coast Section Athletics does not end here, as next weekend Play On Sports will have live coverage of North Coast Section Championships in boys and girls lacrosse, girls soccer, and track and field. Now, starting Friday, May 24th and continuing on Saturday, May 25th, you can catch all the action live. Don't forget to check the Play On Sports broadcast schedule page for information on all of our upcoming broadcasts from around the North Coast Section and beyond. The spring championships are here only on PlayOnSports.com.
Thank you, Philip. Kirsten Fairchild's Philip Kern bringing you the action from Cowpool in Concord. Clayton Young, the San Ramon Valley senior, extending his lead. And a number of swimmers contending for third place.
It's really a race for third at this point. I mean, you've got Miller
very comfortable here
in a comfortable pace for first. I mean, Rooney, I don't think anybody's really going to challenge him for second. But here we've got a whole cluster of swimmers fighting for third. So they may be the race within the race.
And Miller capturing the 200-yard freestyle earlier in a time of 1:39.86. Comes back here for the 500 free, doing his part point-wise for San Ramon Valley.
Within reach here from Miller. He's going to
and our PNA announcer saying what's on everyone's mind. He's on track to break a record that stood for 12 years.
It could be. I mean, that's pretty much, besides the race for third, the other race within the race that's probably going to be on everybody's mind as you hear the bell for the final lap. Will Jackson Miller break the NCS meet record that has stood for 12 years? And at that last split, he's at 3:56.88, so he has a very good chance to do it.
And Rooney no longer an automatic for second place, as making a move is Clayton Young in lane 4. So Miller comes in
there it is.
Smashes the meet record. 4:23.85. That's more than 2 seconds faster, as Rooney does hold on for second. Young makes a move to finish third. Unbelievable swim and an unbelievable day for Jackson Miller. I mean, he just smashed that record.
Yeah, it wasn't even a razor's edge like we've seen some of these records fall today. I mean, there was no doubt, and I think once he hit the turn for that bell lap, signifying the last one. I think everyone started to sense we could see a record fall, and of course he did not disappoint. But already his second title this afternoon. I think he also did the 200-yard freestyle where he claimed the championship there. So a very nice day for the now mentioned senior standout. I'm going to use your name for him, Jackson Miller.
So 4:23.85 by Jackson Miller, the senior out of Las Lomas, and Rooney, the freshman, finishes 4:28.86 for second place, almost a 5-second difference between first and second. Whew.
It was really Jackson Miller's race to lose at this point. I mean, once you saw that middle portion of the race, he just started to separate from the rest of the pack. At that point, it was all just a matter of, well, could he break the record? And of course, there was probably some skepticism on it because of how long it has stood for at least 12 years. But Jackson Miller, being what he is, one of the marquee swimmers here in the North Coast section, comes through again and delivers a record-shattering performance too.
So Jackson Miller will be heading to Indiana
Big Ten
to
school.
swim. And
Nice.
just a real fun fact about him, he considers himself a master sushi chef.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Pretty well-rounded young gentleman. And
I'm surprised he didn't call himself the sushi sensei. That would have been really creative.
he has shown his prowess in the water today. And senior versus freshman still in the pool. Passing of the guard, if you will, to Rudy.
Yeah.
Finisher from lane 6 with the time of 4:28.86, representing Grenada, Maxine Rooney.
But today, well, part of it belongs to Jackson Miller.
From lane number 4 in San Ramon Valley with a new.
And he did it in decisive fashion.
Jackson Miller.
And the crowd really giving him a well-deserved round of applause. That record was in jeopardy from the get-go. And Jackson Miller with the victory swim, if you will.
And of course, he's not going to have very much time to rest because we're going to see him again in the 200-yard freestyle relay. So his day's not done yet. So he could get one more title under his belt.
In addition to coaching many outstanding divers, Mr. Shaw has hosted yearly.
Looks like we may have just a short break. We're going to stay up with you until we figure out how long that is. And Kirsten Fairchild's Philip Kern bringing you the action here on PlayOnSports.com.
Countless hours preparing his divers for competition and teaching them life lessons of how hard work produces success and how to always treat your opponent with respect. Coach Shaw, this award.
And fans, do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the meet you are enjoying here this afternoon? Tell your school to sign up for the Play on Sports School broadcast program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Big thanks to everyone here at the North Coast Section Swim Committee, the meet director Steve Guthrie, Todd Crone, assistant meet director, and our referee Jerry Ing. Getting ready now for the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay. Last year, Marin Academy set the NCS meet record at minute 34.82. Hallstein, Selesky, Kitts, and Kamai. Consolation finals in lane 1, Redwood will kick it off with Deirdre Shepard, the sophomore. California in lane 2, Callie Conlon, the senior. Las Lomas in lane 3, Kelsey Leonard, the senior, first up on the blocks. San Ramon Valley is a top seed in lane 4. Sophomore Kaylee Steffens will lead things off. Campolindo looks to Megan Bickamong, the senior, in lane 5. Northgate counts on sophomore Natalie Doan in lane 6. Mary Woods, the Livermore freshman, in lane 7. And Haley Rose Love, the senior of Heritage, in lane 8. This is the girls' 200-yard freestyle relay. Consolation finals, places 9th through 16th will be determined in a strong start by Haley Rose Love of Heritage in lane 8, as well as Campo in lane 5.
Well, you see Campo starting to get that edge right there. Good start by Megan Bickemung, the senior, who is starting off on the opening leg.
And Mary Ashby, the sophomore, now in for Campo, still in the lead. And again, still down in lane 8, Emily Troy, the senior for Heritage, swimming well. So Campo in 5, perhaps Northgate's Laura Woods drawing near in lane 6, and it looks like 8, 6, and 5 into the water first, and Northgate now in lane 6 in the lead.
And Lanny Tittle, now with Northgate with the lead, is going to be tasked with trying to keep it, or at least get some stretch the lead out a little bit. Now, I don't know if the camera can catch this, but I'm seeing over there where the grandstands are a banana near the pool. Never thought I'd see that.
Danielle Arauzo, the freshman for Northgate, tasked with bringing this home, but she will have to fight off San Ramon Valley's Marina Smith, the junior, in lane 4. So Northgate at 6th, San Ramon Valley in 4th, San Ramon Valley taking the lead. The two-time defending girls team title champ, edges Northgate, and finishing 3rd is Campolino. The winding time 1:36.86.
And what a stretch for Marina Smith. Those last 25 yards just snatched the lead away and just finished it up. I mean, you could tell she was just going fast and furious those last 25 yards.
Absolutely. The final now, lane assignments: Marin Catholic, lane 1, Dougherty Valley, lane 2, Amador Valley, lane 3, Mission San Jose in lane 4, the top seed, Acalanes, lane 5, Miramonte, lane 6, Marin Academy, lane 7, and Carondelet in lane 8. Kirsten Brand to lead things off for Amador Valley in lane 3. Carondelet looks to the freshman Mallory Hahn in lane 8. But the top seed is Megan Crook, the sophomore, leading things off for Mission San Jose.
What I'm really interested in is look at Marin Catholic's relay team, all underclassmen here. So that's going to be really that's really interesting for me to watch. But of course, Mission San Jose, the top seed, a lot of underclassmen there as well, but Austin Lee, the senior, is going to hold up the anchor leg on that one.
So 2 sophomores and a freshman and a senior for Mission San Jose as we're underway. And lane 2 off to a good start by Dougherty Valley's Daniel Taylor. And off the turn, very close indeed. Perhaps the edge goes to lane 7's Marin Academy. And very close indeed.
Miramonte gets that first split there, 23-86, but razor thin lead so far.
Miramonte in lane 6, but again, Marin Academy lane 7, and also Acalanes in lane 5. Very close through the first 2 legs.
Absolutely, and Acalanes starting to pull away a little bit, and there you see they have the lead now, 47-87 on that second split.
Almost 8 across here on this 3rd leg. It's going to come down to the finish.
Very close race.
Unbelievably close, Philip.
Everybody's in contention right now, but I'm looking at lane 3.
Amador Valley.
That's right. Caitlin Patel with a strong swim, and now she hands off the lead to Irish Brand, who has already made a big impact on this race this afternoon.
And lane 4, Mission San Jose looks to their senior, the closest girls race of the afternoon, and it's the relay. How very exciting. Lane 3, Amador Valley. Lane 4, Mission San Jose. Amador Valley's Irish Brand, the sophomore, brings it in right in front of Mission San Jose, and Acalanes unbelievably close, but the final swimmers got it done, and we've been calling Iris Brand's name all afternoon, and she brings it in for Amador Valley.
And it was such a close race, basically from the get-go. I mean, no one really got a lot of separation, so you can tell that was probably the most exciting race of the afternoon. We've seen some good ones here, but this one definitely, so far, I mean, there's still a few events left, but this one took the cake so far.
So a junior, 2 freshmen, and a sophomore for Amador Valley.
no seniors on that relay team, so that core is probably going to be back for another year if they decide to do it.
And relays counting for double points. And yeah, until that final leg, boy, it was, I think I mentioned every single team's name as perhaps being in contention.
Yeah, at some point, I mean, Acalanes had a lead, Miramonte had a lead. I mean, the lead was kind of like a hot potato. Nobody really wanted it at first, and then all of a sudden, Amador Valley said, okay, time for us to take over. And, of course, Iris Brand, the sophomore, as the anchor member of that relay team, just took hold and really left no doubt in anybody's mind. Of course, it was very close, but that she seemed to just get that second gear and just roll through to the finish. I mean, I was looking at this going, holy cow. So a very strong swim for Iris Brand and brings home a title for Amador Valley. Very well deserved, too.
Next up, we'll have the boys 200-yard freestyle relay. That record set last year by the Terra Linda squad, the North Coast section meet record 123.35.
And they're back.
Bagot, we've certainly seen him today. Heim, Williams, and Winder. 123.35.
Up next, that's your fifth place finishers.
And three of the teams we'll see in the final already All-American automatic times, and leading things off in that final will be Jackson Miller. We'll see how much gas he has left in the tank. Even if he's running just on fumes, I expect a big performance from him.
Well, I think what's nice is that they put Jackson Miller as the opening leg, so all he really has to do is just swim fast and furious and just get Las Lomas a strong start and just let his teammates carry it the rest of the way. So, I mean, for his role, I mean, especially after the kind of afternoon he's had, so I mean, I don't want to call it low pressure, but there's less of a burden on him, because if he was the anchor leg, he'd have a lot of pressure on him. There's a lot of laser focus on the last guy on the anchor on that relay, who's going to bring it home. But all he has to do is just get his team a good start, and let his teammates carry it the rest of the way.
Well, and what's interesting is Terra Linda will be in the pool, and Bagot is back to lead things off as he did last year, but he has three new teammates. On that, from that, he's the only one returning from that record-setting team of last year, and Bagot just a junior, so Terra Linda will have him back next year. As Mission San Jose came in the top seed, they will settle for second. Get some nice red carnations, I believe. Nice touch.
You sure do know your flowers. I'm impressed.
Well, if it was anything more exotic, I might struggle.
Well, true. Just keep it to the real basic stuff. The carnations, the roses, tulips maybe. You really want to be adventurous.
There you go.
Or, well, you probably could spot a bird of paradise if you saw it.
I could. You're exactly right.
Okay.
Amador Valley. What an afternoon they've had. Congrats to them. As get to the lane assignments for the boys 200-yard consolation final in the freestyle relay. De La Salle in lane 1, Clayton Valley Charter lane 2, then Castro Valley, San Francisco University top seed in lane 4, Acalanes lane 5, Sir Francis Drake in lane 6, Miramonte in lane 7, and College Park in lane 8. Again, San Francisco University top seed. They will send out their sophomore Ed Peterson. So lane 1, bottom of your screen, closest to the camera. Lane 8, top of the screen, furthest away. Quickest time always goes into lane 4. The preliminaries held prior to today. They're in the water. Acalanes coming up last.
Lane 1,
good underwater work. And it's Acalanes in lane 5. Miramonte off to a strong start in lane 7, as well as College Park alongside in lane 8. But it looks like Castro Valley taking the edge in lane 3.
Early lead, great job there by Victor Dang, getting them off to a very good start, and now hands off the lead to Donovan Watts, a freshman, carrying the second leg.
Right, Miramonte's got Tommy Larson, the sophomore, down in lane 7, and he's making up ground for sure.
Looks like he's in a little bit of a fight. He's got a little bit of a lead there, but there you see Donovan Watts again making up some ground. He still keeps that lead. Now he hands it off to Newton Tran, the senior.
Newton Tran also lane 5. Acalanes in good shape here on this third leg. Acalanes with Zach Newman, the junior, in the water. Acalanes perhaps with the slight edge over Castro Valley.
Zach Newman really making up ground there for Acalanes. And there you see right there, 0.06 of a second with Acalanes with the lead. Now Austin Wenzel, can he bring home the 9th place finish for his school?
Castro Valley's got Bronson Brown in lane 3. Lane 5, lane 3. Lane 2, Clayton Valley Charter threatening late, and Clayton Valley Charter finishes second in front of Castro Valley. The winner, Acalanes, here of this consolation final, 127.15.
It almost looked like Acalanes was starting to tighten up towards the end there. Austin Wenzel losing a little bit of ground, but thankfully it did not hurt anything as Clayton Valley Charter, fast, furious finish at the end. Jake Fagard, the anchor leg. Nice strong swim by him to at least make it competitive, and 0.5 of a second.
Absolutely. Northgate leads off this men's final in lane 1. College Prep in lane 2. Monte Vista in lane 3. Las Lomas lane 4. Heritage is in lane 5. San Ramon Valley is lane 6. Terra Linda with one member back from last year's record-setting team in lane 7, and Campo in lane 1. Jackson Miller, again, the senior, leading things off for Las Lomas in lane 4, bringing a qualifying time of 1:24.73 into this one. Ryan Bersante also leading things off for Heritage. Bersante with the upset earlier in the afternoon. As swimmers take their marks. Again, Las Lomas in 4, surrounded by Monte Vista in 3, and Heritage in 5. Underway.
We saw an NCS meet record last year.
And lane 5, Heritage off to a strong start, as well as Terra Linda with the go leading things off in lane 7.
Now you see Bigot trying to get his team off to a good start there, but it looks like lane 5 is going to start it, and it will be Heritage. Ryan Barsanti with a nice start. Ben Mock now takes over.
And Jonathan Farbman, the sophomore, down in lane 7 for Terra Linda. So 3, 5, and 7, if you will. Monte Vista lane 3, Heritage lane 5, Terra Linda lane 7.
Brandon Carson giving Monte Vista the lead. So strong swim by him. And this very senior lane relay team hands off to Adam Pendergraft down in lane 3.
I don't even know if we've introduced a Monte Vista swimmer yet today, but Monte Vista currently in the hunt, along with Heritage in lane 5. Las Lomas making up ground. It's lane 3, 4, and 5 battling for a title.
And it's so close. Heritage only 0.14 ahead of Monte Vista. So Walker Thaney, can he hold this up? Can he bring it? Can he get some separation?
Look at Las Lomas behind the sophomore, Matt Horner. Horner brings it home for Las Lomas. Finishing second is Monte Vista, and down in 6th, San Ramon Valley finishes 3rd, and the winning record, 1:23.64, less than 31 hundredths off the record.
Boy, Matt Horner, probably one of the strongest legs of that relay for his entire team. Of course, Jackson Miller got off to a very good start. I mean, Thomas Donovan and Garrett Middleton, at least, maybe treading water wasn't quite the right term, but you know, they at least kept pace at that point. And then finally, handing it off to Matt Horner, just those last 25 yards just took over.
I think that's such a prime example of the swimmers that are selected to swim the anchor leg. It's like it can be the same old story from the first, second, third leg, but it's a whole different ball game when that final swimmer gets into the water.
Absolutely, because all the pressure is really on that anchor person for the relay team, because you're tasked with a couple of things. Either hold the lead and bring it home, or, oh, we're a little bit behind, I got to make this up. So there's a whole bunch of different things that an anchor person for the relay team has to think about, and it's really all based on what his teammates do.
Well, in swimming, so much so really one of those individual sports, and that's why I think the relay is being on a team in the first place is such a great experience, but also being part of a relay team, and in this case the winning relay team of Las Lomas is such a special, will turn into a very special memory.
Oh yes, it will.
No, man, the blade. The blade is
After the awards given out for this event, we will have our oldest record here for the North Coast section meet. It was set in 1999 by a woman perhaps someone's heard of, Natalie Coughlin out of Carondelet.
That name does sound a little familiar.
And also holding the national independent record, Missy Franklin now at Cal. In fact, Selena Lee is going to be a teammate.
That's going to be a stacked Cal swim team.
Oh, my goodness.
Whoa.
Always one of my favorite events to watch every year, the NCAA's, or the Pac-12 championships, if you will, of swimming. I feel like, in some respects, you're just watching the U.S. Olympic team.
In some ways, yeah, because, I mean, you have, as far as the Pac-12 school, I mean, Natalie Coughlin obviously went to Cal for a lot of years. I mean, of course, Missy Franklin's going to sort of carry on that legacy. And, of course, the name you might be familiar with, Jenny Thompson, made her mark at Stanford for a few years as well. So Pac-12 with a rich history of Olympians who have gone on and made a mark in the Olympics too.
So Monte Vista, again, really doing great here on the relay.
Very strong showing. I was actually very impressed with them because, I mean, like you said, I mean, I don't think we had really talked about Monte Vista very much this entire afternoon, and all of a sudden here they are in contention for a relay title.
Absolutely. Lane assignments for the girls 100-yard backstroke consolation final. California senior Callie Conlon, lane 1. Alameda freshman Catherine Bowles, lane 2. Nina Hayes, the senior out of Granada, lane 3. Aislinn Drazel, the Marin Catholic sophomore, lane 4. San Ramon Valley in lane 5 and 6. The senior in lane 5, Jacqueline Doyle, alongside Gianna Garcia, the freshman, in lane 6. Helvi Chung, the American senior, lane 7. Michaela Luders, the junior out of Windsor, in lane 8. Again, the NCS meet record set back in 1999 by Natalie Coughlin, the Carondelet grad. We're underway, the girls 100-yard backstroke consolation final.
I think not just with this consolation round, but also with the finals. We're going to have a lot of inter-school competition among some of the swimmers. You're seeing right now Jacqueline Doyle and Gianna Garcia, lanes 5 and 6. Essentially a little bit of a changing of the guard as Doyle is a senior, Garcia a freshman.
And Garcia, who was DQ'd earlier in the day, I believe, with the lead. In lane 6, great underwater work off the wall. And also lane 3's Nina Hayes, the senior, with a good swim here as the final length of the pool.
Garcia 56.96. Yes,
Garcia with the lead, but very close finish.
Yeah.
And perhaps Hayes will finish second, but Garcia goes first. Hayes is second, and finishing third down in lane 8, Luders out of Windsor.
Well, Garcia, I mean, I know this isn't it probably won't quite make up for the DQ that she suffered earlier this afternoon, but, I mean, her being a freshman, of course, she's going to have 3 more years to make more of a mark in this NCS final. So, obviously a bit of a disappointment for her today as far as earlier, but...
Right, and as you mentioned earlier, Philip, familiar faces here in the final. Lane 1 and 2 belongs to Campo. Both are juniors, Allison Stevens and Hannah Grubbs. Marin Catholic freshman Callie Raucher in lane 3. Monte Vista senior Sydney Cook in lane 4. And Madison White headed to UCLA out of Carondelet in lane 5. Rebecca Baxley, the Annalise senior, lane 6. Samantha Coloma, the freshman out of Carondelet, lane 7, swimming next to her junior teammate, Natalie Amberg.
Of course, Madison White, who's going to UCLA. after this school year, was actually an Olympic trial semifinalist in the 200 backstroke. So she is definitely what you would consider the favorite here.
That's right. She finished 6th at the Olympic trials, 4 individual NCS titles in her high school career. She swam 54.77 yesterday behind Cook at 54.70. I'm not sure if Coughlin's record is in jeopardy, but this race is up for grabs, as Sydney Cook, who will be going to USC in the fall, brings the fastest time. She's in lane 4 out of Monte Vista High School.
It's probably going to be between her and Madison White at this point.
Lane 1, top of your screen. Lane 8, top of your screen. Lane 1 on the bottom. Cook is in 4. White is in 5.
We saw a pair of
Cook
4.7s yesterday
with the lead.
in 4 and White in 5.
And Cook with the slide edge here after the first 50.
She was a 52.86.
Now White off the wall.
56.49.
Cook right behind her though, .11 after that first split.
Senior versus senior. What a great rivalry over the years. White in lane 5, Cook in lane 4. White with the slight edge, but it's going to be all about the finish.
That's right.
And White brings it in 53.91 as Cook takes second, 54.76, and Raucher finishes third, the freshman out of Marin Catholic. She dons the cloak, if you will, to take over for these seniors. What a great race between White and Cook.
Really was. I mean, within about 0.6 seconds of each other, and of course Madison White keeping the Carondelet tradition going as a soon-to-be fellow alumnus Natalie Coughlin still holds that record, but Madison White a very, very strong performance in this race.
That's right, and Cook going to USC and White going to UCLA. This may continue.
It could. But it won't be the friendly competition that they're used to by sharing the same high school. If anybody knows what the rivalry between USC and UCLA is like, they'll be at each other's throats in the pool. Don't worry about that. I'm sure they will be seeing a lot of each other.
From Carondelet, Samantha Coloma.
There's our awards presentation going on, and we're somewhat nearing the end of this meet. Philip and I will have our boy and girl player of the meet, swimmer of the meet, if you will, at the conclusion of this. Again, our work cut out for us. We're not sure what kind of criteria we're going to have to go with. We either can do no wrong in whoever we select, or maybe we do.
Well, the nice thing is you want to have options. I mean, there's no harm with a little bit of a debate on which swimmer really took hold of the spotlight today, and
exactly.
we've got a few.
Well, and swimmers coming in to this meet, obviously with terrific reputations, have accomplished so much, but perhaps it will come down to an upset,
sure,
or just a decisive victory, or a nail-biting victory. We have, indeed.
We've already had an upset today. So the nice thing is the afternoon's not quite over, but we are in that home stretch right now. So still time to figure out who are going to be our swimmers of the afternoon.
That's right. Madison White getting a big hug as she collects her title. And boys 100-yard backstroke consolation final. Nick Pasachuca, San Ramon Valley, lane 1, next to Alex Sheeman of Camp Alindo. Then Theodore St. Francis of Marin Academy, lane 3. Graham Spursum of Nevada, lane 4. Walter Thanning, lane 5. Michael Palmer, San Ramon Valley, lane 6. Annalise Senior Nate Kuhn, lane 7. And the freshman from Camp Alindo, Cole Stevens, lane 8. Consolation final, the boys 100 backstroke underway. And a good start by Spursum of Novato in lane 4.
Final lane 1 from San Ramon, that's Nick Pasachuk. 2, Camp Alindo, Alex Sheeman. 3, Marin Academy, Theodore St. Francis.
And also Walter Thanning of Heritage in lane 5.
Michael Palmer. 7, Emily.
And Bandon looking very strong.
Yeah, Walker Thanning with the early lead here, 24.69, his first split there.
As Thanning looks to bring it home. This is for places 9 through 16. Regardless of time, they cannot move up to finish in the top 8. Now the fight on for second as Thanning brings it home. And touching second is Nate Kuhn out of Annalee in lane 7. And out of lane 3, Theodore St. Francis finishing third. So Thanning goes 50-46 for 9th place. Lane assignments for the final. Jason Chen, the senior out of Amador Valley, lane 1. J.D. Ratchford, the senior out of Campolindo, lane 2. John Knox, the Annalee junior, lane 3. Next to Sven Campbell, the Campolindo senior, the record holder. He set it yesterday, 47.65. Sven Campbell in lane 4. Kenneth Castro Abrams, San Marin senior, lane 5. Nick Johnston, Amador Valley, lane 6. Albert Meow of Miramonte, lane 7. Both Johnston and Meow are seniors. And the Heritage junior, Brandon James, lane 8.
And it's probably going to be one of the best fields as far as a event final that we're going to see this afternoon. You rattle off all those names there. Albert Meow, Sven Campbell, Jason Chen. And Campbell, with the target on his back, he is sort of the defending champion in this meet, if I understand correctly. Yeah, and he even holds the NCS meet record, which he set just yesterday.
Just yesterday, and you know, J.D. Ratchford over in lane 2, he's going to Cal to play water polo. And Johnston going to Brown, so many swimmers continuing on to the next level as Campbell, again, his career, he set the 100 free, 100 back, 50 free records.
And he'll be going to Cal as well.
And now he is looking to improve upon yesterday. Again, a 47.65 result yesterday for Sven Campbell. And 2 seconds quicker than his nearest competitors. Campbell with the bright blue swim cap in lane 4.
Can't miss him.
His teammate Ratchford in lane 2. Unbelievable underwater work from the swimmers. Lane 1's Jason Chen, unbelievable.
And Campbell already asserting himself, but look who we got here in lane 1, Jason Chen. One of the possibilities that he could upend Sven Campbell, and so far he's holding with him 0.09 of a second after that first split.
Again, I'm just as the daughter of a backstroker, I'm in awe of this underwater work. Campbell lane 4, Chen lane 1. Chen thinking upset.
Oh, he could do it.
Chen and Campbell and Chen, did he do it?
Yes.
He did.
Wow.
Jason Chen, the upset outside smoke as it's called, 47.99 off of Campbell's record, but unbelievable by Chen. Some of the most beautiful underwater work I've ever seen.
Well,
wonder if Campbell could see him.
Might have, but you know what? We were thinking that there may be the possibility for another upset happening this afternoon, and we just saw it.
Called it.
Oh, yep.
So Chen takes first, 47.99. Campbell finishes second in 48.23, and then Castro Abrams down in lane 5 out of San Marin taking third, but Jason Chen providing some excitement here in this 100-yard backstroke.
And got some cheers from some of the onlookers behind us, too. I don't know.
I don't even think they go to a school, but Amador Valley, again, they're having a terrific afternoon on both the boys and girls side.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They already took home a relay title today. Jason Chen pulls off the upset of the seemingly unbeatable Sven Campbell, and proving that he is human after all. Contrary to popular opinion, Sven Campbell is human.
That's right, and over in lane 4, Not sure what kind of view he had of Chen.
Fourth place finisher in lane number 6 with a final time of
Seemed like
73. Nick Johnston.
Chen knew exactly what he needed to do to come through with the win, and perhaps that was the swim of his life.
Well, if you're going to have the swim of your life, do it against the defending champion, and he saved it for the absolutely perfect time.
Representing San Lorenzo, Kenneth Castro Abrams.
So Albert Meow down in lane 7, finished 7th. He's off to UC Santa Barbara. I think it just really speaks when you look at the top 8 finishes, and these swimmers are still going on to Division I programs. It really speaks. And now I expect a huge round of applause for Jason Chen.
Lane 1, senior from Amador Valley with a winning time of 47.99. Jason Chen.
There you heard it. Very hearty applause for Jason Chen, and deservedly so.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Consolation final up next for the girls' 100-yard breaststrokes. Foothill sophomore Taylor Truex out of lane 1. Brigitte Winkler, the Tamalpais freshman, lane 2. Annalise sophomore Lily Maxfield, lane 3, swimming next to her senior teammate Georgie Pettibone in lane 4. Maria Carrillo, freshman Piper Broccoli, lane 5. San Marin junior Megan Campbell, lane 6. San Ramon Valley junior Amanda Miller, lane 7. And Rian Skinner, the Foothill freshman, lane 8. Record set in 2009 by Casey Carlson of Las Lomas, 58.75. Also the national public record. And lane 5 looking very strong. Piper Broccoli, the freshman out of Maria Carrillo.
So far, Piper Broccoli with the early edge, 29.86, the only sub-30 time on that first split.
Lane 2 looking strong with Winkler, the freshman out of Tamalpais. 3 freshmen in this race. Lanes 2, 5, and 8. And close race indeed. From our vantage point, Winkler looks very strong. Does she edge Broccoli? She does. So Winkler followed by Broccoli, followed by Pettibone for this consolation final.
Of course, Tamalpais will appreciate the points towards their standings for this afternoon. But at this point, all they'll do is just clear the way for the final in this event.
Aylin Lee, the California sophomore, lane 1. Kristen Schumann, the San Ramon Valley sophomore, lane 2. Another sophomore, this time from Petaluma, in lane 3. It's Riley Scott. Heidi Pop, the San Ramon Valley junior, lane 4. Cardinal Newman senior Taylor Lung, lane 5. Kate Didion of Las Lomas, the sophomore, is in lane 6. Maria Carlson, the Livermore senior, lane 7. Next to Marie Claire Schillinger, the Miramonte sophomore, in lane 8. This is a sophomore-dominated field.
You know, what I'm noticing here, only 2 seniors in this 100-yard breaststroke final.
And Poppy brings in a minute 49/100ths qualifying time into this event. More than 2 seconds faster than her closest competitors.
Of course, they'll be going up against the record set back in 2009 by Casey Carlson, 58.75. But the closest one to that record, just based on prelims, was, as you said, Heidi Poppy. So if there's anybody who could challenge the NCS meet mark, she's probably the favorite. But of course, we've already seen a couple upsets, so who knows?
We'll find out in approximately a minute as they're underway. And Poppy in lane 4, Young in lane 5. Young and Poppy. Poppy with the slight edge. Young in second. Scott swimming well in lane 3. 28.77 the split for Poppy. And she holds a slight advantage.
28-9-7
Poppy definitely taking a hold on this one. Of course, Kristen Schumann down in lane 2. There's already a little bit of inter-school competition here. Poppy still trying to hold off Taylor Young. They are going neck and neck here.
Young on her hip. Poppy and Young. It's going to come down to the finish. And Poppy, did she out-touch?
Yes.
She did. By 5/100ths of a second, the victory over Young. Taking third is Scott in lane 3. A very close race, but Heidi Poppy holds on for the win.
And of course, very close, like you mentioned, just between Heidi Poppy and Taylor Young down that last stretch of 25. It's like it was alternating strokes there. Poppy would come out of the water, then Young, then Poppy, back and forth. All came down to that last reach, and Poppy just had a little bit extra towards the end. Got the wall.
San Ramon Valley's coach, Heather Johnston, will hand out the medals. Again, San Ramon Valley looking for a three-peat on the team side this year. We will have those standings and our swimmers of the meet at the conclusion of today's events.
From San Ramon Valley, Kristen Schumann.
And we've had some close races. We've had some
upsets.
One-sided affairs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we have had some upsets.
And in 6th place, just 1/100.
We've had a cornucopia of results, if you will.
Very nice.
Our
Yes.
6th place finisher from Las Lomas.
Big thanks while we have the opportunity to thank our meet director and De La Salle head coach Steve Guthrie, assistant meet director Todd Crone, and everyone on the NCS swim committee, our referee Jerry Ing, and the folks here at Cow Pool in Concord. Kirsten Fairchilds, Philip Kerr, producer Omar Lewis, and on camera today, Brad Youngquist, bringing you the action from the North Coast Section Championships, the final high school event of the season. It's been a good one today.
In 3rd place from lane 3. Her time of 101.94, representing
Next, the boys 100-yard breaststroke consolation final. Campo senior Dominic Baldwin in lane 1. Colin Chapello, the De La Salle Jr. in lane 2. Mission San Jose sophomore Jerome Sons in lane 3. Hank Poppy, San Ramon Valley freshman, lane 4.
It's a family affair.
De La Salle senior Sam Prodich, lane 5. John Corley out of Justin Siena, the first time I'm mentioning the Napa school today, a senior in lane 6. California sophomore Jacob Woolridge, lane 7. And Tyler Bartbliss, the Campo Jr. in lane 8. Between the consolation and the finals, Campo with 3 boys swimmers in this event. The record set yesterday by Stephen Stump, 53-67, and he is the top seed in the final. This is, however, consolation final. Places 9 through 16 will be determined. Hank Poppy into the water, the freshman, the top seed, bringing a time of 58:20 into this event. Very close start. Almost 8 across, at least 6 across, Philip.
All towing the line right here.
Perhaps the first touch by Prodich of De La Salle in lane 5.
It was actually John Corley in lane 6.
Oh, lane 6.
By 0.3 seconds.
Representing Justin Siena well here in
There
this
you
consolation final, and he looks to still be in the lead. Corley down in lane 6. Final length of the pool.
Poppy was at 58.20. He's your top seed here in lane number 4.
Corley with his rhythm, the fight for second for sure as Corley brings it home for Justin Siena. And then it looks like Poppy in lane 4, right in front of Prodich in lane 5. The announcement made that Corley's off to SMU in the fall. And Poppy almost had a chance to make it a Poppy sweep in the breaststroke. As we get now to the final, Roland Lee, the senior out of California, lane 1. Stanley Wu of Northgate, a sophomore, lane 2. Miramonte Jr. Charlie Weiser, lane 3. Campo Senior Stephen Stump, lane 4. Nick Silverthorne, lane 5. Granada Jr. Akalani Senior Brett Usinger of lane 6. Carson Sand, the Castro Valley sophomore, in lane 7. Next to Connor Turcotte, San Francisco University Junior, lane 8.
From Miramonte, Charlie Weiser.
And something else we want to keep in mind, Nick Silverthorne actually competed in this back in the USA Swimming's Cal Nevada Winter Sectionals in the long beach. Actually clocked in at a 54:36.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. People were screaming for Stephen Stump.
Right.
And I've got a headset on.
Exactly. Well, Nick Silverthorne back in the USA Swimming's Cal Nevada Winter Sectionals clocked in at a 54.36. So he's definitely a dark horse here. And also Brett Usinger, who was just announced, could also make a run for it. He's actually going to Princeton.
Unbelievable. And Weiser to play water polo and swim at Stanford. He is in lane 3. This is the final individual event of the afternoon, and all eyes will be on Stephen Stump to see if he can repeat his record-setting performance yesterday. Again, 53.67 coming into this event. He's in lane number 4. Stump and Weiser up last out of the water and side by side, as well as Silverthorne in lane 5. Great turn.
And Stump and Silverthorne neck and neck right now, but Stump's starting to pull away a little bit. There you see Charlie Weiser giving them all they got. It's those 3 middle lanes there, but Stump with the early lead, 25.21, but Silverthorne 500 to the second behind.
And Weiser in contention, so close. Will a record fall once again as Stump, it's his race to lose. Stump. Weiser lane 3, Silverthorne lane 5. I think Stump is going to do it.
Yep. He did it.
He does. 53.39 breaks every single record. He will have to thank the men alongside him and Weiser and Silverthorne for the push. All sorts of excitement here at Cal Pool today.
My goodness. It's one thing if you break an NCS record. I mean, that's accomplishment enough, but what Stephen Stump just accomplished, let's just put this in perspective here. 53.39, not only an NCS meet record, he also breaks the record of a veteran Olympian in Brendan Hansen from 13 years ago. I mean, that he just put his name up with all sorts of records.
I have goosebumps. The announcement just made the top 3 places, the fastest 3 times recorded by any high school swimmer in America. And I was saying, Stephen Stump has to thank Charlie Weiser and Nick Silverthorne for the push. So Stump goes 53.39. Just to put it in perspective, the national public record set in 2000 by Hansen, 53.67. The national independent set 2 years earlier in 98 by Patrick Fowler, 53.66. And then Stump comes through. He had tied that record with Hansen, 53.39. Think about it. Weiser goes 53.57, which would have also broken all those records. And Silverthorne goes 53.61, which also would have broken all those records.
Who would have thought that we would have 2 record-breaking performances that wouldn't even get you first place in an event? I mean, talk about
national record breaking.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not just an NCS meet record. We're talking nationwide records, and 2 of these guys broke a record but won't even get first place. I mean, that's just how stacked this field was. I mean, wow.
And the 3rd place finisher, Nick Silverthorne, with the biggest smile on his face, being part of history. They will remember this for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. And the standing ovation coming from the crowd once the announcement came.
And Usinger finishes fourth, 56-10.
From Granada with a final time under the national public high school record time, 53.61 from Granada. Nick Silverthorne.
Nick Silverthorne. Huge round of applause here. Again, big smiles. These three left it all in the pool today.
Second place finisher in lane 3. Also under the national public high school record.
Charlie Weiser out of Miramonte.
Charlie Weiser.
You know, you have to admire Stump. Those two were threatening, and he was able to hold them off.
They stayed neck and neck throughout the entire time. So you could probably tell.
From Campolindo with the fastest 100 breaststroke in high school history, public or independent, 53:39. Steven Stump.
Just wanted to let the announcement go through, but I'll tell you, I mean, Stump and Charlie Weiser, my goodness, what a race that was.
Stump will make the national news with this race today.
Yes, he will. And then you see a lot of his swimming teammates so excited for him. I mean, you love to see that kind of team camaraderie when someone does something significant like that. They're all, it's like they were in the pool with him. I mean, that was the incredible part.
Well, and what's going to be really fun with the boys 400 freestyle, both Sven Campbell and Steven Stump
are
listed. But first, of course, we'll have the girls' consolation, but there's photo opportunities needed here, some time taken for what's going on here for these three athletes who just went 1, 2, 3, best in the nation. How very exciting here in Cal Pool in Concord. Looks like we're going to have a 10 to 15 minute break here, and we're going to go ahead and take a short break and step away, gather our thoughts, recover from the excitement of what just happened here at Cal Pool. Will more records fall? Will we see upsets? Make sure you come on back to PlayOnSports.com's coverage of the 2013 North Coast Swimming Championships. Welcome back to the North Coast Swimming Championships, Concord, California. Time now for the consolation final of the girls 400-yard freestyle event. Montgomery, lane 1, Tamalpais, lane 2, Monte Vista, lane 3. Next to Dougherty Valley, the top seed, Acalanes, lane 5, Sir Francis Drake, lane 6, Miramonte, lane 7, Redwood, lane 8. The NCS meet record set yesterday by Carondelet High School. Chanot, Amberg, Murphy, and White, 3:23.96. Dougherty Valley brings the top seed in the top time into this consolation final. 3 minutes 34:55 in front of 10 100s in front of Acalanes. And it's Daniel Taylor, the sophomore, with the first leg here for Dougherty Valley.
Well, it looks like lane 4, that is Dougherty Valley, taking over the lead here. And they do touch first. A nice swim there by Hannah Berg, the junior, with the second leg.
That's right, as Tamalpais and Montgomery next into the water. Annie Whalen, the freshman for Tamalpais, and Jenna Bauer, the junior for Montgomery. We've called Bauer's name a number of times today.
Absolutely.
Final girls event. This is the consolation final. As Dougherty Valley with the lead, now in second, Acalanes. Emily Giambastini, the senior, with the second leg for Acalanes. And Acalanes closing the gap, thanks to Giambastini. However, Dougherty Valley in, the freshman Sarah Wang. Acalanes sends in Nora Vance, the senior.
Still Dougherty Valley in fourth.
And third place is Tamalpais in lane 2, Mickey Dock, the freshman.
You see in that last split, Acalanes really keeping pace, only 0.32 behind to finish, but it looks like Dougherty Valley is going to finish in first, Marissa Berg finishing off the rally. Oh, sorry, it was Sarah Wang still finishing, I beg your pardon.
Doherty Valley, Acalanes. 1-2 here into the final leg. As Marissa Berg in for Doherty Valley and Megan Hill in for Acalanes, the two seniors battling in lane 4 and 5.
Swimmers in the water now. Doherty Valley still in front from 4.
Doherty Valley has led start to finish.
Absolutely, it's been a wire-to-wire race, so a very nice showing there for this entire relay team. It looks like they will finish it off with a strong anchor showing here for Megan Hill.
And Acalanes getting cheered on in second. It looks like maybe down in lane 7, Miramonte from Megan Howard, the senior, coming back in contention for third. Monte Vista also in lane 3. It's Linda Liu, the senior. Doherty Valley, however, extending the lead. Fight really on for third as Doherty Valley and Acalanes go 1-2. And it looks like down in lane 8, Redwood finishing third. So good strong swim by Emma McCartney, the sophomore, anchor leg for Redwood. Let's quickly go to the lane assignments for the final girls event of the afternoon. Marin Catholic is in lane 1. Campo lane 2. Foothill lane 3. Carondelet brings a record-setting time into lane 4. Amador Valley lane 5. San Ramon Valley lane 6. Mission San Jose lane 7. Granada lane 8. The senior Chelsea Chanot to lead things off for Carondelet.
And of course, we're looking at Amador Valley. Keep an eye on Iris Brand. She has had a very, very nice day today. Already won a couple of individual titles. Already has a relay victory to her credit. And it really makes Amador Valley a threat. The key is for them, will her teammates keep it very close, because Chelsea Chanot can really get Carondelet off to a very good start.
Well, and Chelsea Chanot leading things off. Madison White, the anchor for Carondelet, coming after the girls 200 free relay. Third place was San Ramon Valley with 138 points, Amador Valley at 157, and Carondelet with 182. Carondelet set a record yesterday, 3:23.96. And it's the same for the same order. Coming in here as the favorite final girls event of the afternoon here in Concord. They're underway.
Of course, keep in mind, we haven't really talked about her much, but Selena Lee is going to be the anchor for Foothill as well. She's had a little bit of a disappointing day today, but looks to make up for it with a relay win here.
Had one upset registered against her, claimed an individual title.
Right.
As Chanot gets things started for Carondelet.
I think she gets the sense that she's got to get her team off to a very, very good start, and she is just pulling away from the pack.
And Campo in lane 2 behind Allison Stevens, a junior, in second place. Too close to call for third, as a very healthy lead indeed for Carondelet. Amador Valley swimming well in lane 5, but it's lane 1 and 2 in Marin Catholic and Campolita. A 49-27 by Chanot opening leg as Natalie Amberg, the junior, in for the second leg.
Such a strong swim by Chanot, and I think she realized, again, she has to get her team off to a very, very good start.
I'm not sure if you heard, Philip, the 49-27 just swum by Chelsea Chanot was an NCS record.
Wow.
In the freestyle, as Amberg holds on to this lead. Lane 2 swimming well. This is Campo's Mary Ashby, the sophomore, and Marin Catholic's Aislinn Drysdale, the sophomore, in lane 1.
And Carondelet, if they keep this going, again, they still had Madison White left to go as the anchor.
And it's Madeline Murphy, the freshman, into the pool for Carondelet. Bit of a shallow dive. Next is Campo's Erica Muller, the senior, and Marin Catholic here in lane 1. Bottom of your frame, Sofia Del Porto, the sophomore.
Murphy, all she has to do is just be the caretaker of the lead right now, and Carondelet is just smoking the field right now. And of course, there she goes for her second turn.
And
she's even passing up a few swimmers on the way back. She could have waved at him if she wanted.
San Ramon Valley making a nice charge out of lane 6. Paige Matherson, the junior. Gianna Garcia led things off of them, followed by Marina Smith, and Heidi Poppy will be the anchor leg for San Ramon Valley. Again, relays count double as the final swimmer. The anchor leg in for Carondelet. It's the senior Madison White, who's had a spectacular afternoon on her own.
Absolutely.
Lane 2 goes in next. Campo's Megan Bickamong. And down in lane 6, it's Poppy for San Ramon Valley. Now, since the start of this race was Chanot's leadoff leg, Carondelet's just been racing the clock.
They really have, and it's really a race against themselves right now. That last split, they were clocked in at 2:39.30. Possibly a chance for a record-setting pace. We don't know.
The coaches of Carondelet to our right cheering on their team.
High school record here.
Our PA announcer saying we have a chance at a national record. The national record 3:21.63 set by Germantown Academy, Pennsylvania earlier this year. Here comes Carondelet.
They got it.
They have done it. Broken every single national record. 3 minutes 20:42. Campo finishes second. Amador Valley finishes third. It's just one exciting accomplishment after another here in Concord this afternoon.
I'll tell you what, we thought, how were we going to follow up the previous event where the top 3 broke a national record? And we got our answer. Carondelet probably one of the best swims of the entire afternoon in a team event. What a showing.
And what a smashing of their record from yesterday, 3:23.96. Again, 3:20.42. That beats the national public set in 2011 by a Hershey, Pennsylvania team. National indoor by Germantown Academy earlier this year. We want to welcome and say hello once again to our visitors from out of state, our viewers from out of state. I read online that we were going to have a lot tuning in. There's so much hype regarding this North Coast section, especially the senior stocked year, and I think this section has delivered.
Oh, they definitely have. We have seen results of all kinds this afternoon. I mean, we've had the upsets, we've had the one-sided affairs, we've seen 2 national records fall this afternoon. It has been absolutely exciting today.
Fantastic afternoon. The girls are done. Swimmers in the pool, the relay teams awaiting their medals.
Your 7th place finisher.
And what an exciting afternoon.
2-6, that is Marin Catholic.
And what a way to finish for the Carondelet team. Again, San Ramon Valley has won 2 in a row, look to three-peat. We'll have to wait for the final team results, but Carondelet had led after the 200 free relay. To be in good shape, I would think, at this point. And I just love the excitement here from lane 2. They're so excited, Campo Lindo, about their second place finish.
Your 5th
I mean, when they were about 7 seconds behind. I mean, Campo Lindo had a great swim. I mean, let's not misunderstand that, but with a pace to smash a national record, I mean, sometimes you just have to be left in awe about it. You just think, hey,
and
that was incredible.
Chelsea Chanot is facing us right now. Now comes over to hug the Campo Lindo swimmers, and she just had her hands on her cheeks and was saying, oh my God, oh my God. I mean, to set a record with the relay team as you see the hugs for Campo Lindo. And so decisively as well. 2 seconds faster at least than the records as they're posing for photos.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's a photo op. I mean, they're basically saying we are the national record holders now. So this picture probably will get in a lot of national outlets because of their accomplishments. So everything is good.
As the medals being awarded here. Campo and Carondelet still left in the pool. What great rivalries they've had over the years.
Finishing in second place from
And based on the talent of the underclassmen swimmers, I'm sure the rivalry is going to be pretty healthy for the next few years. That's just a hunch.
So everyone buzzing after the boys breaststroke event. In fact, our meet director, Steve Guthrie, says in 35 plus years, I've never seen anything like that where the three swimmers all beat the national record. As now they're being announced, the 2013 Carondelet Relay Team.
Independent high school record 3:20.42. Carondelet High School.
My apologies, earlier I said that record was indoor. I meant to say independent. So the NCS rewriting the national record books here today as we get ready for the consolation final of the boys 400-yard freestyle relay. Lane 1, Sir Francis Drake. Heritage in lane 2, Mission San Jose, lane 3. De La Salle in lane 4, Las Lomas lane 5, Acalanes lane 6, Tamalpais lane 7, and Bishop O'Dowd in lane 8. The record set yesterday by Campolindo, and that included Campbell, Stump, Ratchford, and Sivesund. They are slated to swim in the final. This is the consolation final. De La Salle brings the best time in. They're in lane 4.
And some final splashes for the fans deciding to sit in the first few rows. Not that they minded, I don't think.
Matt Horner, the sophomore, leading off well for Las Lomas in lane 5. And lane 2 swimming well, Heritage's Brandon James. But look at the lead opened up by Horner.
It'll be sort of a final send-off for senior Jackson Miller for Las Lomas. Sort of a final showcase for him before he goes on to swim at the collegiate level.
Absolutely. Folks reacting to the dive in by Thomas Donovan, the senior for Las Lomas, still in the lead.
We can please have a coach from Granada to the admin office. Granada, please send a coach to the admin office.
And just swimming like he's just, he's still got a purpose here.
Brett Usinger down in lane 6 for Acalanes. And Heritage's Zaid Othman, the senior, in lane 2. So lane 2 and 6 currently battling for second, as Las Lomas stretching out their lead here thanks to Thomas Donovan.
So that leadoff time from Las Lomas in lane 5, 44.22, does tie NCS meet record.
So we had an NCS meet record tied here in the consolation final for the leadoff leg as Garrett Middleton in for Las Lomas.
All these leadoff swimmers doing big things. We just heard about Chelsea Chanot doing that earlier.
Weston Carpenter, the sophomore, in the pool for Acalanes. It's down in lane 6. Lane 2 has Ben Monk, the senior, in for Heritage, but the rest of the field beginning to close on Heritage.
And basically at this point, it's just a race for second right now, as Las Lomas seems to have this relay well in hand.
Again, as you mentioned, Jackson Miller, the senior, what an afternoon he's had. Maybe a little bit disappointing, but a chance to finish off strong here in the consolation final. His lead has been cut into, but Miller goes for Las Lomas, the anchor leg in the water. Next is Austin Wenzel, the junior for Acalanes. And a great makeup there by De La Salle, lane 4, and this is David Morgan, the senior.
And Morgan, who had a little bit of a disappointment in one of the individual events earlier this afternoon, too, barely getting edged out.
And here he now overtakes Acalanes for second, but Las Lomas, and look at Miller. Miller is determined to make this in De La Salle victory.
Oh my God.
Morgan has a mission. He is
tightening.
on Miller. Morgan and Miller with the out-touch 9/100ths of a second in front of a determined Morgan. De La Salle will have to finish for second. Acalanes' finish is third. So Las Lomas leading from wire to wire. Final event of the afternoon. Up next, it's the final. Castro Valley in lane 1, College Prep lane 2, Amador Valley lane 3, Campo the top seed with a record-setting time yesterday, lane 4, Granada lane 5, San Ramon Valley lane 6, Miramonte lane 7, Northgate lane 8. You look at the leadoff swimmers, Campbell for Campo, Rooney the freshman for Granada, Chen Amador Valley. We've been saying their names all afternoon. Weiser for Miramonte. We just saw his great effort in the breaststroke. What a stacked boys 400-yard freestyle relay.
If you're going to have your afternoon end on a high note, this is the way to do it. What I'm interested in is Camp Olindo's strategy of putting two of their better swimmers as the first two members of the relay team. It's a very interesting strategy.
Well, and Ratchford is swimming third. Now he's going to Cal to play water polo. But yeah, for us, Grant Sivicent, we've called his name today, but certainly not as often as Campbell and Stump. But Campo, I have to think, especially after seeing what the Carondelet girls just did, they're like, we're going for it here. Their record-setting time yesterday, 3 minutes, 2 seconds, 97 100ths, well off the national independent time and the national public time, 2:54.43 for the independent, 2:59.76 for public. But who knows, this may be the team to do it. We're in the water.
Hey, why not have one more national record fall? That'd be a perfect way to end this.
It would be a perfect afternoon. Ending. And lane 7, Charlie Weiser of Miramonte doing well as lane 5's Granado and Campo in lane 4.
You see lane 5, Granada with the early start. That's Maxime Rooney, the freshman phenom. He's had a lot of publicity coming into this meet today. He's definitely holding his own.
So Rooney and Granada is first, followed by Miramonte and Weiser, perhaps, and Campo Lindo lane 4 is Stump into the water.
4.65. Granada lane 5 behind.
Wow, 44.65.
Granada's Trent Trump into the water now. That's lane 5. Campo Lindo Stump in lane 4. Amador Valley's got Brian Hughes in lane 3.
But it looks like for Granada, they had a little bit of a last-minute switch. That looks like Rooney in the water now.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. Rooney in the water now, followed by Stump and Hughes for Amador Valley, and lane 7's got Albert Miao in for Miramonte. So Granada thinking upset.
Oh, yes, they are, and they're in a good spot right now.
Granada, Campo, Amador Valley.
Halfway through there, 130.34. Here comes Campo Lindo in 4.
Granada's Nick Silverthorne, the junior.
Still holding on. He's actually starting to create some separation here, so Campo Lindo in a little bit of trouble. J.D. Ratchford has got to make up some ground here if Campo Lindo's going to have a shot at taking this title.
That's right. And Johnson, the senior, in for Amador Valley.
Look at Amador catches.
Granada looking for the upset.
And we got a little bit of a race here for second. Amador Valley starting to catch up here. That's Nick Johnston.
Amador Valley into the water. Kevin McLaughlin facing off against Grant Siveston. Granada Bryce McLaughlin, and then Kevin McLaughlin of Amador Valley, lane 3. So Granada fans on their feet.
He's dropping off.
One more lap for Granada. Campo is closing.
Oh, they are closing indeed. This could come down to the wire. They're already starting to catch up.
And this is Stump swimming the final leg. Campbell, the anchor leg. It's all come down to this. The afternoon, it speaks volumes.
Here's Stump.
Granado, Campo, it's going to be Campo. Campo touches first by 3/100ths, 3:01.70, a new record. unofficially, Granada also breaking that record from yesterday, 3:01.73. We're going to wait for the official results on that. The times we see first are unofficial. What a final leg by Campo.
Oh, my word. I mean, Granada, you had to think, so disappointed. They led for most of that race, and just to let it slip towards the end. My word. I mean, what a finish that was.
So Campo sets another record. Record's fallen like, I don't know what, 3:01.70 from Campo, 3:01.73 by Granada. Improving on that 3:02.97 set yesterday by Campolindo. So Campolindo mixing up their order, switching around, and paying off that huge ground they had to make up on Granada.
And like you said, a little bit of a last-minute reshuffling of the deck, if you will. And I thought it was a little bit interesting because they had Campbell and Stumpf listed as the first two guys. I'm kind of thinking, well,
it's what they swam yesterday.
Right.
So mixed it up, and you know that the coaches can make these last-minute changes,
Absolutely.
relays. So I think at that point you have to gauge, you have to check in with your swimmers as a coach, saying, are you ready to go swim the anchor leg for us, or you know, are you ready to lead things off for us? And just, I've lost track just of the records that have fallen here today.
Exactly.
Again, at the conclusion, we will have our swimmer of the meet. Philip and I'll be back to wrap up the action here. It's an absolutely terrific day for swim fans in Concord.
Finishing in 5th place, lane 7, 3:05.75. The final time for Miramonte.
Miramonte, which has had a terrific afternoon thanks to swimmers like Charlie Weiser and Albert Meow. The congratulations from the Campolindo coach.
Finishing in 4th place.
Yeah, you gotta put it down, put it down, put it down.
3:05.20.
Take it all the way down.
From lane number 6, San Ramon.
And if we have a change in our camera, we're losing our tent here at Cal Pool. Big thanks to the De La Salle swim program for letting us share our table today.
In lane 3, Amador Valley.
It was Amador Valley. What a great afternoon for them on both sides, boys and girls. Certainly been in contention. Had some upsets, some underclassmen swimmers, sophomores really step up.
Definitely saw a little bit of everything here this afternoon, but we definitely were witnesses to history, at least on a couple of fronts today. So, I mean, all our expectations essentially were met here this afternoon. Just a great showing, a lot of all the best swimming talent here in the North Coast section, and you could see just why this has become so regarded as a Olympics and NCAA pipeline. I mean, just so many swimming legends have come from here, and it's a pretty big tradition to uphold. And you can tell that all these swimmers take it pretty seriously.
3:01.70 in lane 4, Campolindo.
One of the later regional sectional championships to be decided, saving possibly the best for last, as the North Coast Swimming Championships wrapping up here at the Concord Pool. We're going to come back with the team results, meet our boy and girl swimmer of the meet, and Philip and I will wrap up the action back in a few minutes. You're watching Play On Sports.com's coverage of the 2013 North Coast Swim Championships. Back in Concord with the man of the hour, our PlayOnSports.com swimmer of the meet on the boys' side, Stephen Stump. Stephen, thank you for autographing my heat sheet.
You're welcome.
Stephen from Campolindo. besides records falling today, so much excitement, especially in the boys' 100-yard breaststroke. What an afternoon. I'm thinking you need to thank second place Charlie Weiser and Nick Silverthorne, if you haven't already, for pushing you to just smashing the national records.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without them. It's just so much fun to get in the pool and race with two incredible guys, and to have that experience. I mean, how many times do you get in a pool and have a national high school record broken with 3 guys in one heat? It was just incredible, and I couldn't have done it without them to push me that last lap and finish. It was just amazing.
Well, people are joining us, perhaps around the world, certainly across the U.S., wanted to see what the senior class that everyone's talking about in the North Coast section. How do you feel your senior class represented today? Oh,
amazing. I mean, this entire meet was incredible. Almost every single record was broken by either a senior or just amazing swimmers here at this meet. I was talking with my coach, and he was saying, you know, back in 1999 or 2000, his senior was seated second with a 58 in the 100 butterfly, and now 58 in the girls 100 butterfly wouldn't even make finals. It's just, this meet's become so fast, and I think that with such fast swimmers, it just makes it even faster because you're just continuing to push harder every day and work out, and it's just, we're so lucky to have these many great swimmers in one small area.
Absolutely. What's the future hold for you?
Going down to USC next school year. Couldn't be happier with my choice. And I'm going to go to World Champ Trials and maybe National or US Open this summer. But just keeping my eyes open and seeing what comes my way.
Well, again, thanks for your autograph. After your event, people were walking around with the biggest smiles and just heard the words, "I have goosebumps," and that was awesome. During your swim, what were you thinking? Did you know?
I knew that was going to be a close race. I knew that these two guys were definitely going to push me to be a better swimmer in the pool. And I was just thinking going in, I got to work my underwaters. That's where I think I faulted in the prelims, and I knew that I could do better in the finals today, and that's what I really pushed. So,
well, congratulations. We were glad PlayOnSports.com was here while you were making history. Stephen Stump of Camp Alindo, our PlayOnSports.com boys swimmer of the meet. Don't you dare go away. We'll come back with our girls swimmer of the meet, and then Philip Kern and I will be back to wrap up the action, the team totals. We're still waiting on them to see which team win the title. Will it be Campo? We'll find out when we return to PlayOnSports.com. Back in Concord with our PlayOnSports.com girl swimmer of the meet from Carondelet, Chelsea Chanot. Oh my gosh, what an afternoon. You accomplished so much on the individual side, and then your team comes through. What did it mean, your senior year, your final year? You have starred since you were a freshman. What does it feel like to wrap up your high school career?
It feels absolutely incredible. To start with a national high school record and to end with a national high school record, I can't be more proud of the girls that I swim with. It just feels absolutely, it's just an honor. I feel so blessed right now.
You won the 200 free, the 500 free, the 500 free. What a performance. What is it about that event that you feel you excel at?
I just try to keep a rhythm and hold it throughout the race, and I think that's part of what really keeps me going. And so I can hold it and then try to build and just see where I can go, and it's always fun to see where everyone else is at too.
What does the future hold for you?
Well, I'll be attending USC next year, and throughout the summer I'll be going to meets. I'm actually going to World Championship Trials and hoping to make that team to Barcelona. That would be pretty fun. And if I don't, then I will be going to Kazan, Russia for World University Games.
Oh, how exciting. Yeah. I want to take you back to the final event, the national record-setting relay. You got off to such a great leg, in fact, a record-setting leg. Do you like to lead off in the event, or do you like more the anchor or somewhere in between?
I like to mix it up a little. Last year, I wanted to see if I could break the NCS record, and I fell short by 1/10 of a second. So I was a little frustrated, so I really wanted to lead off again and see if I could break it again this year.
And you absolutely did. Congratulations.
Thank
this seemed like such a special event up here this year with the records just falling like crazy. And I saw you give a big hug to our boy swimmer of the meet, Stephen Stump, who will join you down at SC. So I'm sure you guys have known each other very well.
Yeah, we've known each other a while, and we're really close, and we've just grown closer over the years. And actually, it's funny, he texted me to tell me congratulations when I committed, and then I was like, hey, where are you going? And he didn't text me back, and then a couple hours later, he committed, and was like, oh, by the way, I just committed to SC, and I was like, oh my God.
Maybe you had something to do with that. Future looks bright for the Trojans, but right now we celebrate Chelsea Chanel, our PlayOnSports.com girl swimmer of the meet from Carondelet. Congratulations. Philip Kern and I will be back to wrap up the action from Concord in just a few minutes. Back in Concord, PlayOnSports.com's coverage of the 2013 North Coast Section Swimming Championships alongside Philip Kern. I'm Kirsten Fairchild. Thank you for joining us all afternoon. Our tent is gone. The wind is picking up, but what a day to remember here in Concord.
Oh, it really was. I mean, and you said it. I mean, just everything around us just provided the perfect setting. There was not a cloud in the sky, and we saw some amazing things. I mean, we saw our fair share of really one-sided results. We saw our fair share of upsets today, as we all well know. But the big story here is going to be the Carondelet girls relay team smashing a national record, and of course the 100-yard breaststroke for the boys. Top 3 finishers breaking the national record. I mean, we were witnesses to history today. I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable. You mentioned earlier the meet director from De La Salle said he's been covering these things for about 30-plus years, never seen anything like that. No. I think that only gives an indication how special this was today. And we saw the cream of the crop of swimming talent here in the North Coast section. They didn't disappoint.
No, absolutely not. Individual performances, team performances, and I think we'll always remember the names of Stump, Weiser, and Silverthorne.
Oh, yes.
Goosebumps all around. Team results, finishing third for the girls, Amador Valley with 189 points. San Ramon Valley, the 2-time defending champ, coming up short with 218 points, but finishing in second place. And then just perfect that our swimmer of the meet came from the winning girls team, Carondelet, 267 points. They treated us to their school song, dumping their coaches in the pool. But what an afternoon for Carondelet and the likes of Chelsea Chanel.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Chelsea Chanel, she was the star for them today. I mean, but of course, I mean, their relay team doing what they did. I mean, Carondelet was just a swimming powerhouse, and they asserted themselves today, and it really was incredible. Of course, you mentioned it. We were treated to their school song. That's impressive. I don't remember the school song from my alma mater. So, I mean, just the utter joy that they had. I mean, and just with everybody involved that did what they accomplished today. I mean, just incredible stuff. Of course, Campo Lindo as well.
Yeah, on the boys' side, Miramonte finishing third, 167 points. Granada taking second with 229, and then Campo Lindo, 256 points. That is the 9th consecutive team title for Campo. And again, our boys swimmer of the meet, Stephen Stump, coming from Campo.
And there was really no other way to have anybody else. I mean, we had a few candidates that we were sort of talking about as the afternoon went on, but once he smashed that national record in the breaststroke, that sealed it.
Yeah.
I mean, because how can you top something like that? I mean, normally when you consider someone who has a record-breaking performance, you think, oh, well, they probably took first place. Well, not if you were the third fastest in the national record-setting pace today. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible, and you saw sort of sense the electricity that was around here. I mean, when that event finished in particular, just how everyone just stood to their feet because they knew that they were in the presence of something special here this afternoon. And, I mean, we were starting to get some goosebumps. We thought to ourselves when we went to that break, how in the world do you follow that up? And, of course, Carondelet gave us the answer with that relay event later on. But just an outstanding event. Just an outstanding meet. I mean, the NCS really did a nice job putting everything together. And what a setting.
Oh,
this is
absolutely.
Great.
A big thanks to everyone here at Cal Pool, as well as the North Coast section. Philip, your final thoughts, your final takeaway from today.
Well, I don't know what else you can say. I mean, you pretty much go to the results. They speak for themselves. I mean, you had Olympians' records fall. I mean, that's pretty much the best way you can sum that up. I mean, when you talk about the likes of records previously held by Brendan Hansen, an Olympic veteran. I mean, Natalie Coughlin, whose record was in danger in a couple of events. So, I mean, really, when you think about it, you've got all these names and all these legends that have come out of the NCS, and the tradition still lives on. This is a legitimate Olympian NCAA pipeline, and there's a lot of underclassmen that are going to be continuing to take their mantle and move the section forward. This is going to be something to watch for the next few years. I mean, just with some of the underclassmen talent that we saw today, absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. Individual records, team records, relay records. Such an exciting day here. A big thanks to all of you tuning in to PlayOnSports.com. On behalf of the producer, Omar Lewis, our cameraman, Brad Youngquist, my partner today, Philip Kern, I'm Kirsten Fairchills. Thank you for joining us. The North Coast Section Championships in the books. Carondelet on the girls' side, Camp Olinda on the boys' side. Certainly one to remember here in Concord. So long. We'll catch you next time on PlayOnSports.com.